Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the SLE lower bracket semifinals. My name is Sandbag, and joining me on the cast, Colibri, taking us through the playoffs as we continue to build up to that all-important grands. Talk to me, brother. How we doing today?
Good, very good. How about you?
I'm feeling good. It's been a minute since I was behind the microphone, so looking to keep it going. And this is going to be a marathon, Colibri. This is going to be a best of 5. Vitagen Heart taking on RADX. We're going to have to leave something in the tank. 3 games guaranteed. We're all here for the 5-game mega banger, and you're the man with the information. What are we looking forward to as we get ourselves, kind of settled in, pick a nice pace? What are we looking forward to between these two teams?
Well, first of all, we're looking at actually some fearless drama going into the series. So we're going to have to dig deep. These players are going to have to dig deep into their champion pools in order to actually make it out like the winners, because this is the elimination game. You're not getting out of this if you lose here. So definitely some pressure on their shoulders here.
Absolutely right. No more mistakes, no more slip-ups in that lower bracket, but all the more glory if you get those runs going. Everyone loves the good fighting games. You drop a set early, and then you're able to fight your way back up to the grands. You're looking to pull that off here.
Definitely.
So, as we have ourselves fearless, as you said yourself, there are one chance to be picking these, as we have all seen popularized by the likes of the Ratones and the adoption into pro play. What are we thinking early on in terms of, is it going to be sticking to meta? Is there anything that you really want to call out? Because you've been able to see a bit more of these teams than I have. Anything that you really want to call out in these first probably game or two?
Well, in terms of picks, I think there are a few things that stand out, mainly looking at, I believe it was the bot laner of Vitagen Heart, a very strong laner to support here in Wiggies, very strong. I believe if I look back at his statistics, where was it? Yes, very high in second in assists per game in the league so far. Very strong laner, very dangerous. Plays a lot of Thresh, a lot of Pike. So I believe if he can get his hands on these early, it can be very useful for them to get the ball rolling in that bot lane. On the other side of the court for their opponent, it could also be something to keep in mind that if one of these champions does go through and you manage to play around it or to draft around it, then the champion gets picked. If it does nothing into the lane, and then it cannot be picked again. So that is definitely something that these teams can look to work around.
Absolutely. You only get the one shot on them, and some of these pocket picks, some of these, as you said, deep champion pools behoove yourself even more than normal in Fearless, where it's no longer handshakes, no more quirky his ears, no more sticking along here, as we have ourselves an impromptu draft on screen already going to be speed running through this. Varus, Maokai, Fiddlesticks for the blue team bans Xin Zhao, Vi, Tristana. And the rest of this is going to be Cho'Gath, Corki, Syndra for Vitagen Heart, RADX on Kai'Sa, Azir. A lot to pick through, and most of these real power picks already off the board early.
Yes, indeed. Oh, as the draft has gone away. There we go. So looking at the RADX side, actually not really prioritizing or even looking at these very engaged heavy supports. We do know also that on the flip side of Wiggies, his lane counterpart, the support in, let me just make sure I get his name correct, Smallcon. Smallcon is actually a Rakan OTP, very high Rakan play rate. Hasn't really looked at that yet, just making sure to secure the Kai'Sa and the Azir, very strong, very stable picks that can scale well into the late game, and with some added mobility to actually survive through the early game.
Yeah, giving yourselves a few more tools to reposition. You're not quite as, either you're riding that nice edge, getting your damage off, or you're exploding in a big ball of flames. Giving yourselves a couple more tools, especially when there's things like Jarvans running around. Anytime that you have mobility of your own, you're very happy to see that in opposition of a Jarvan.
Yes, very tame so far, like very stable picks, picks with either very reliable CC, very reliable damage, or decent escapes to actually play around. So that's why we also see the Corki. Something I like to highlight as well is the Syndra from Vitagen Heart. The mid laner from Vitagen Heart, so Jesseja, has been absolutely wrecking it. Like looking at the statistics, like from the split, he has been like first in KD and absolutely like silly KD ratio, like 22 KDA during the split, and really good, very low Desperate as well, a very stable, very reliable mid laner. So getting him on something as consistent and reliable as Syndra is definitely something that's good.
You really want to set the tone, right? There's a massive amount of League to be played here down the line, but you always want to come out of the gate swinging first. You want to really settle in. This is, for all intents and purposes, a pretty high pressure series. You have the rest of your playoffs riding on this to keep continuing on forwards. Finding comfort, finding your form early can actually turn what should be a hotly contested back and forth series into a bit of a blowout if you just find your rhythm and you never give them theirs.
Yeah, definitely. Which is why it's so important to get these staple picks going early on in the draft. Looking at what we've got, very early lock-in of the Viego, very aggressive here. And the lock-in of the Nico straight afterwards as well. Like very aggressive stuff. Corki Nico is absolutely disgusting in terms of early damage, with some really good lockdown as well, like later on. And mixed up with a Viego as well. This comp from Vitagen Heart just screams lockdown first target, blow up someone up, and then just win the fight afterwards.
Yep, and then make sure Viego's resetting. You got your upfront burst to get you reset one, and Viego to really clean up, carry through. R5 pick for this support is going to be a Leona, providing a little bit more of a robust pick down there. But this is aggressive for all intents and purposes. Neither one of these teams has much of a fallback pattern to speak of.
No, there's just go in, and if you don't manage, you're probably going to get rolled over. Like there are really no very good tools apart from the Azir to kite away. Other than that, is you basically do want to go, and that's definitely what Vitagen Heart will be looking to do, looking to blow someone up first target, and then just move forwards. On the other side, though, RADX, they do have the counter pick in the Leona. It's decent if they can actually get some ganks coming their way, and if they want to blow someone up as well. But it's still like an R5 Leona into a Nico Corki. That lane is not winning early, and we've talked about it. The aggressive styles of the supports. It's really important to get the ball rolling, and Leona is robust, but still a melee matchup against the Nico.
Yeah, you're still gonna be chipped out pretty consistently in that matchup, right? You're just gonna be eating Gatling gun every time you look for a minion. Nico's going to be chipping away with her spells. Obviously, you have massive all-in threat. 2 stacks of plasma that you can apply instantly right on the Leo root, then the Leo stun, then an auto attack from the Kaisa. That is a huge amount of that second skin damage burst in terms of getting on top of somebody. But as you highlighted early on, Corki can just Valk out. Nico is really the only one you want to jump on, and if you're jumping on Nico, Corki is left to his own devices. One item Corki, Triforce, say no more to that fight.
Indeed. Corki, a very strong champion, especially good as well in lane against a champion like the Kaisa. The Kaisa can actually work quite well into when she has the opportunity to just weave these autos in, get a little cheeky Q in, maybe even like these elongated fights where she can actually proc her passive. Is pretty useful. However, into Corki Nico, Corki outbursts her, Corki out damages her over the duration. I believe it's 4 seconds of the Gatling gun, and Nico just packs much more punch than Leona does, especially in the early game. So definitely not an easy lane for sure. Looking at the rest of the field, Syndra Azir, pretty standard mage v mage matchup. Can get a little volatile, especially with Jarvan and Viego coming up for the jungle. One stun from the Syndra definitely can be scary for the Azir, but these two will be looking to farm early on unless they can get some jungle influence going. And on the top side, it is the Aatrox versus Cho'Gath. Obviously, Aatrox favored matchup, especially if you can get these points in Q. But Cho'Gath should be able to survive this lane. Although it is, I have noticed that the RADX top laner is more of a how can I say this? More of a tank utility top laner. I believe that's more of his playstyle. Don't quote me on that. But from whereas on the other side, what I have seen is that the top laner for Vitagen, so Ace, really loves these carry junglers, these carry top laners, sorry, these Fioras. So he might be looking as well to get the edge over his top lane adversary here.
Yeah, I would agree. He's more of the kind of Scions and Cassantes of the world. But that being said, Aatrox is still up there within his top 5 played. It's very much the kind of bruiser wheelhouse, I would say, more than a pure tank. Sure, there's a Scion in there, but you've got a lot of Pantheons and Ambessas and Gragas and that sort of thing. So bruiser still well within the realm. I expect that to be a relatively comfortable pick. And it's a matter of how far can you lever it? Because when you're picking tank into bruiser, you are accepting the fact, I'm going to give you a plate. I'm going to give you a couple waves. You're kind of hanging around that, 10, 15 CS deficit and a couple plates. But can you hold them there? Because you're going to provide so much more utility. But if you get blown out, all of a sudden you got a 3-kill Aatrox running around and nobody else gets to play the game with a 3-kill Aatrox. Up a plate, up towers, up gold. That snowball can get out of control fast. So holding the line is going to be the Vitagen top side of the map.
Definitely. However, I will say that there's a caveat to that. It does require a very good awareness of the enemy jungler, especially when the enemy jungler is a Viego. Cho'Gath Viego can absolutely blow up an Aatrox. If he doesn't have time to get his spells out, to get his empowered auto off, to get the sustain, Cho'Gath and Viego will absolutely destroy him. So obviously he does have the edge in this matchup, having the range advantage, being able to out-sustain. But yeah, he can definitely make it work if he is cautious. Can definitely get a CS lead, a gold lead as well. It is just up to, as you said, to Vitagen not to give too much leeway over to this Aatrox. Although I don't know about you, but I would still give the draft advantage to Vitagen Heart here. I believe they have strong matchups in bot and a very stable mid laner and a very good, comp identity as well.
Yeah, I think Vitagen have a very clear way to play the game, as you called out. You have burst up front, Viego cleanup. That is a very streamlined way of playing the game, versus RX is a little bit of dive with the Leo Kaisa and J4, but then you got Azir who's kind of more control mage, bruiser. It's a bit more piecemeal, but each individual component can absolutely pop off, right? RX, if any, X number of champions get ahead of the curve, they can absolutely take over the map. And there's, as we said, not a huge fallback pattern. Vitagen falling behind, your wave clear is Syndra. And that's just about it. You can spam some spells on the wave, but there's no Sivers running around. There's no Anivias running around that are trying holding. You're kind of just gonna get walked down by this engage comp of RX. I would agree, Vitagen's slight edge, but the reason why you can hear me starting to get into this early on is look at the individual execution, the footsies of the top lane, the scat of the week in the mid lane. What J4 can take a red buff and just ignore camps for the next 2 minutes. These are champions who have agency and they have volatility, and that's always what you love to hear. As the play-by-play, I'm always going to lean towards a little bit more fighting and a bit less of this chess game. Give me a good old fist fight.
Of course you will, and I appreciate that. It's always fun to see a job and get red, go level 2, invade, and then die and just go on repeat. That's just
wear team, spamming a couple times, slash Stefan.
Obviously, that's definitely not scarred by that in my Celica games.
Never. But
nah.
In terms of comp, I would probably 55-45 Vitagen. It's all going to be execution, and I would kind of throw this back to you. Where I like to find a linchpin, a kind of anchor point. What is the crux of this game? That's your litmus test of this game is going well for this team or it's going bad for this team. Where do you find that on the blue team?
To me, the most important factor to consider in order for Vitagen's comp to work is for them to actually be able to group up and to team fight. They need to be able to be 5 people on one screen, CC one person, blow them up, and then win the fight from there. That is the most important part of the equation. Them being down some like 1,000 gold or on 1.5k shouldn't matter this much if they can actually find a way to get onto the same screen together and just team fight. Blow up one target, play from there. Because on the other side, you do have ways to actually 1-3-1. You do have actually ways to, if you actually manage to get out of the lane with Kai'Sa, get her in mid and switch this Azir off to the side. If you can actually play around him, make sure that he can farm safely, even use his Azir turret for protection, he can easily play against the Syndra, because the Syndra obviously has a lot of strength in the 1v1, lots of damage, really reliable crowd control. But if he gets isolated into the side lane, it gets really hard to play, especially for Viego, who actually wants to be looking for these players and not really looking to hover like all too much. It can get a bit disjointed sometimes. Although I do think that this is a much more complicated way of playing. So for me, Vitagen Hard does have the edge over them.
I would agree. Slight thing, and I would very much burrow down on Syndra's your litmus test. You're a burst comp. She is the queen of the burst of this comp, right? That is, yes, say with your whatever outrageous 22 KDA or something preposterous. If he can continue that pace, it's going to be smooth sailing for the rest of the Vitagen lineup. But if he's set behind, and your burst comp is just getting eaten up by the sustain of the Aatrox, or J4 is beating you to the punch, that's
definitely.
That's gonna be rough.
Definitely. If blue side just cannot find any opportunity to just group up and blow someone up, obviously their comp is just not going to work. But not that many tanks on the other side, apart from that Leona. So I would expect, or as we actually see an invade here, looking for some vision.
Cho'Gath might find a rupture onto 2, and he does indeed get the flash from the Emperor. Zifeng losing to some early for a singular ward on the Raptor camp. Not the greatest of trade deals.
Yeah, not only has he lost the flash, he's just half HP. You're half HP in a very volatile matchup. Syndra can absolutely take over a lane if she does play it correctly. There is a ward on the other side, making sure that the Viego is spotted. So good vision from the red side, but can they actually exploit it?
It's information. Information, as you know, is power. So J4 currently matching the start, both of them clearing towards this bot side. Maybe look to lever that information, but more than likely, it's just going to be try and get your 6 camps, trying to get farmed up in the collision course, likely on that scuttle at the 330 mark.
Yeah, definitely. Although Jarvan's clear isn't the fastest, Viego should be able to match and find himself like facing the Jarvan. It's not necessarily a fight that the Jarvan would like to take, especially when it looks like his bot lane is already getting caved in. As we talked about from draft, this double range matchup is really, really hard for the Leona Kai'Sa to play into. So I don't think the Jarvan will even have the option to contest for that grab.
No, more than likely, unless you're trying to get real cheeky and you're skipping camps on the way down, trying to get there and smite it before Isaac can turn up. But if you're a Leona staring down the barrel of this matchup and you press your E key, you don't have a spell, right? You don't even want to engage, even if you have the possibility to hit it.
No, definitely not, especially when you're getting chunked like that under your turret. This guy's so very low range as well. Not easy for them, as we can see actually some good trading up there in the top side.
Aze is hitting a couple good ruptures in a row, right? The wave is going to be pushing in the other side, but that is consistently chipping away at that health bar. It's a little bit fraudulent, knowing that it is an Aatrox and he's just going to get his reset off, but good to see he's finding his eye early.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely good trading from the Cho'Gath. Very hard trader, especially with the Halo Blades. If he actually manages to proc that onto the Aatrox, it's a lot of damage. So if you can get to these Qs in as well, that's some fight that you have to respect.
It is. I will say, with the changes that they've made to him, I definitely find myself preferring to grasp a little bit extra meat behind the fights later on if you are going to be solo frontlining, but completely reasonable if you want to go Hella Blades. If you are this burst comp that we're talking about, and you're all leaning on that style, completely reasonable as we have a bit of a drive-by. 2 junglers en route. Yes, has Isaac in the wings. Counter gank is possible as the Cav will be pushed backwards, and that is a stare down in mid lane. Crab next on the chopping block.
Very strange from the Jarvan. He actually goes in.
You're gonna be jumping back in, and it's gonna be smited down as the junglers continue to hammer back and forth. Vitagen Heart claiming crab, and J4 forced backwards, having been double crabbed.
Very strange from the J4, like decision wise. Like he actually knew his Azir has no flash, getting pushed in, half health. The Viego actually has the move on him, and he actually just tries to hover, lose his flash after trying to go in.
Oh! The tower, and under he goes. Aze is gonna live to tell the tale. First blood to the Cho'Gath in the top lane.
Wow, the Halabay's really doing work. I don't think you would have been able to do that with grass. I'm just saying.
No,
definitely
I mean, exactly. That's if you're a first comp, you gotta go for it.
Yeah, definitely. And as we see, like again, like this is the weekend. No, this is just.
It'll
Oh,
be a
there,
tough
there it
game,
is. Yeah, as we see, like actually out of mana, but Ding's 5 first, and the Aatrox is just getting choked out of this lane, just getting poked from the Qs, and the flash E. But the auto is just enough for the kill. Too much damage to sustain during the trade patterns in lane.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it's just disrespect from the Aatrox. Immediately punished. You gotta flash the Rupture. He's got Hail of Blades. Even if he just goes 1 for 1 and eats an extra tower shot, it's still gonna be completely worth to burn the wave underneath the tower. But instead, it's the CS lead that was slowly accruing for the Aatrox, completely negated in one fell swoop.
Indeed, and he also has. Oh, he's even freezing that wave. Oh, and he has the sustain to actually do this. Maybe a bit cheeky because he will take some damage, and the wave might even get pushed in as we see the dragons getting started here.
Yeah, well, but there's no real contest so far. Cav not going to be sticking his head in too far, but remembering A's passive makes it so that way the HP pool much less important than the mana pool. That's what you're looking to be working with here. Is 700 on the Drake. Cav might look for a smite fight. Jonathan Isaac both level 5. J4 shuffle goes wide. Emperor's Divide. Jonathan Isaac out of the pit and smited down by Jarvan. Heisted away here as Cav is able to jump on over with the EQ. Can he find an exit route? Buffer knocked out, and Scatter the Weak will wave up to the name as they slide on in. Feat of Warfare claimed. 3 kills go the way of Vitagen Heart. They're making it 4 underneath the structure. Smallcon the only one on his feet. They get the Drake, but pay with 3 more members in the river fight.
Oh, RADX, you were out. This was the heist of the century. You had no business contesting this dragon, but with a mid prio, they actually managed to swoop in, push the Viego out, get the dragon, and they're out. They're just out, and they stick to like trying to get some poke. The Jarvan gets engaged. He has no flash. He gets killed. The Viego passive. The Nico flashes in, and it's just GG. That's 3 kills to the carries in this very bursty comp. It's very dangerous.
They are going to want that one back. Wiggy's identifying the fact that they stuck around a little bit too long. Flash in, 2-man E, and then all of a sudden, absolutely goes from nice heist to not worth.
No, not worth at all. And this is what we're talking about, the bloodthirsty support. Very, very, very present in the game. Very high first blood percentage as well. This, you can see the aggression there. Like, sees the angle, flashes in. No, nothing slow about this play. It's definitely something.
No hesitation, not at all. As
Exactly,
they might
look at what.
Yeah, Cave is going to be jumping on in, but unfortunately, this Jarvan just feels like he's half a step behind the play, consistently looking, being proactive, but not coming up with much so far.
I mean, he has 3 using lanes. It's hard for him to do anything apart from hover. Hey, they're looking for a play, but I don't know if there's anything to look for here.
Cataclysm available, but he does not have flash. He's going to be jumping in onto 2. Wiggy's no ult from the previous play. Level 5. Emperor's Divide, scooping him back on in. They get one and trade it on out. Mid for sport so far. Jumping on in with the Heartbreaker. Viego's looking to clean up. Another 1 for 1. That is 2 apiece on both sides. Jungler's going to be able to walk on in and mop this up. And that is an even trade across the board. I'm still favoring Vitagen on that one, though.
Yeah, definitely. I didn't think they would actually be able to go for anything here, but the Leona and the Jarvan link up. Very good synergy from the jungle and support, actually making sure that they can actually play together. The Syndra does have no flash, so it's an easy... the Jarvan ultimate, just with the 2 people, plus the Azir ult, just to scoop them in. And yeah, it's a shame that the Nico actually gets the trade onto the Azir. He was out, and he just flashed it a little bit too late, I feel.
Also, great patience here for that Azir, who is able to hold the whole duration of the Cataclysm, waits on in. Nice little sidestep here from Zik, and he's going to be able to live as a result. However, Ignite ticking forced both sums away. Barrier and Flash, but retains his life off the little slip of the Zenith Blade. We're keeping the pace up here. 8 minutes, 58 seconds, 8 kills.
Indeed, the pace is actually going strong. Big pace, as the Lost Retainers King would say. Big face, big face. Although I do feel like the Corki should have been dead to rights here, like getting actually swerved around by the Leona, and she actually misses the E when she could just walk up to him and just cue him. I feel like this Corki was dead to rights. Maybe misplay, maybe just outplay on the side, especially when the Kaiser still had the ult. We'll have to see. No Flash Corki, no barrier as well. Definitely something to look forward to.
Absolutely. Valkyrie then becomes your absolute lifeblood. If you have that mobility and you're able to escape the engage, happy days. If not, you become very vulnerable, considering that you're still running Hex Flash on this Leona. Killer Instinct can fly in at any moment, and it will be pretty tough standing anywhere up the lane at that front, especially considering Wiggy's March and Run, wreaking havoc in this mid lane. Collision Course once again. Azir taking the worst end of the trade as he's down to 2/3 HP.
Yeah, the Kraken Slay on the 3-0 Viego, definitely not someone you want to meet in the bush that you have not warded. Very, very scary to face like that, especially when he knows he has a Cinder right behind him. As we see again, the Jarvan and the Leona just meet up, but they actually want to contest this.
Link up, however, again, as you said, Kraken Slayer, despite the fact that Cav's got an Eclipse of his own, it's the junglers completing their items first, thanks to the cleanup in the mid lane. It's still very much Viego favorite at this point in time in a heads-up duel.
Ooh, and he almost gets him as well. If he finds him here, that probably would have been Jarvan's Flash. But instead, he just recalls. The Azir's out of the picture as well, and maybe they're looking for a bot dive here. No Flash on the Kaiser for another 30 seconds.
They have the info that he did finish the recall. Remember, he was on the sweeper, so they might look to lay a trap in this blue buff as he continues to walk his way around. He's on vision once again. 3 of them group up, but it looks like a channel. Not going to make it anything too obvious as Cav. You can see him considering it. He wants to walk in, but thinks better of it and just walks up mid.
I don't think you can contest that dragon. Comes. Oh, they're going in.
Good scatter, but he is able to find a very nice slide to safety. Good Azir mechanics. However, Smallcon's looking to kick this off in the river. Prey escorting support out so far. Flash Spectral Maw. He's going to be jumping on in as Jonathan Isaac stunned up, but he has the Heartbreaker. Smite for the slow. Piercing on through. Does not quite find those Tangle Barbs, but one more punch forwards. Jonathan Isaac 4-0 off the back of this Leona pick.
Oh, definitely a scary Viego to be chasing around in the jungle. A little disconnect there from RADX, I feel. Like, there's no way you can contest this dragon. Like, your jungler's basing with 10 seconds on the dragon. Your mid lane is basing as well. The TP is from the Syndra. She gets back into lane first. The Corki's pushed all the way in his boss side. The Nico and Viego are together in the enemy jungle. There's no way you can contest this. And still they walk up, even when they have jungle camps on the Jarvan to farm up the top side. The Smallcon just goes in and just tries to punish the flushless Corki, but there was just no way that we actually made it out there.
No,
and the end pays for it.
It's a fight that she picked, no less, right? Throwing out that solar flare, you could have simply done nothing, but instead throwing out the solar flare, trying to find a little bit too much more than was actually there. As we continue to have the 2 top laners slapping each other around, we've officially hit the point where Cho'Gath can pretty much ignore you. He's just going to keep vamping up with that passive, and Aatrox the same. So burst significantly lower. An old school build for A's. I feel like this was the flavor of the week a couple weeks ago. Patch notes might say that this has fallen out of favor, but A's still likes it.
Nothing like a little grandma jam, something to keep you going. So like an old recipe that I enjoy. He actually pops the Shreya to live for something, but yeah, definitely something the Baus could have been like rocking maybe 2-3 months ago. But definitely still to his taste, and he does have that lead. Like I'm not quite sure if he actually lost a bait in topside, but he's still ahead in CS. Does have that pressure, got the solo kill, so he's doing really well. Every lane from Vitagen is actually doing really well. The Syndra's ahead in CS, the top lane's ahead. The Viego is just destroying this Jarvan, just pulling ahead and ahead and ahead in CS. The Kai'Sa is still 20 CS down, and the Corki's just keeps like pushing the Kai'Sa in. And only 2 plates remaining on this bot lane tower.
The perfect moment as they finally give us a moment to kind of take inventory, take stock so far. as we have jungle lead. I would love to be able to flip over to the gold here to see what the actual delta is. Thank you, Observer, as the 1100. Okay, it's actually not as bad as it looks. A couple of those kills on the other side to kind of pull it back, but it's roughly a K, almost evenly spread on every member here to make up that 3-4K that they got at the top.
Yeah, and it's these oh, is that the Nico that you can see? Like,
It's
Nico
creep.
It's these item breakpoints that you're looking at. Obviously, like if you're down 500 to 1K, in the grand scheme of things, individually it's not that much, but it's these item breakpoints that you're looking for. The Azir got bullied all the way through the lane, had to spec into Mercs, obviously, because it's the Syndra lane, you don't want to get blown up. This guy just swoops away from the Cho'Gath Q, and he just doesn't have his item. He doesn't have his Nash's Tooth, and the Syndra does have her own item. So, as the Nico takes a stroll to the enemy jungle, just warming it up.
Absolutely, it's very funny that you called that out, Blastcone. However, a dive beginning to develop up on the top side, World Ender and Flash available, so it'll be tough to stick. Likely just going to be the structure that they take the chunk out on, down to a third HP. And remember, it's been so back and forth. Neither team successfully grabbing up these feats of strength so far. One Drake apiece, Grubs apiece. No one's been able to get it over the line.
I believe the grubs have been taken. There's only 3 grubs now on this patch, I believe, from this patch. So once you get the 3, you actually do get the feat of strength. Yeah. I do believe.
So yeah, you absolutely do, but remember it's 1 Drake and the 3 grubs. So this is what this Herald is what gets them the feat of strength. That was
definitely. No, my bad. I didn't realize that they haven't gotten the feat of strength just yet. And down goes the Herald, and the Viega just keeps on going. Like he's up like 25 CS, and he's still looking to pressure this top side. Poor Aatrox just has to dip.
Yeah, he's down to a third HP as the bot lane comes up, bullies him out. So not only are they going to successfully complete feats, which always feel good, right? Not the greatest value in the world in terms of, difference in the game, but still everything helps. But getting first turret and the feats of strength just kind of gives you the indication of how this game's going so far, and RX fans might be sweating a little bit.
Indeed, and I have to point out as well, like the control and the confidence with which they've been pushing this lead. Like they surged off to like a 3K goal lead, like 6, 7, 8 minutes ago, and they just been gradually pushing their advantage, not over pushing, not going for too much, respecting when they actually had the Jarvan and the Leona in their own jungle, putting down vision, not contesting everything just for the sake of it, gradually pushing forwards, getting their item leads, and in contrast to the for example, we've seen earlier the Leona solo engaging on the side of the map that she did not have control over, we've seen very good, confident and controlled play from the side of Vitagen.
They're just continue to incrementally build their leads. They pull their Cho'Gath down, they see there's no play, run him back up to catch the wave. He does have TP if A's wants to join. So they're in a position if they want to contest this. You were talking about item breakpoints. I'm looking towards mid. That's almost a full decap hit for like head and shoulders above the Azir as they summon up the Herald and look to punish this Drake take with structures of their own.
Yeah, a bit of a fumble, however. I feel like with how strong you are, you probably shouldn't be giving the dragon away, but it's gone, and RADX just learned from the last time. They're not going to over-push it. Ooh, it's a very good scat of the week here from Jessadia. They will guarantee that they actually get the mid lane turret. So mid lane turret, as well as the Rift Herald used for a dragon, not bad when you're down 5... wait, they're down 6K. That's actually huge.
You're RX. You're absolutely loving that so far. It's going to be Blast Cone to safety, so small con. No real harm or foul, but structures are taking a beating. Yes, you get the objective, but up the top side of the map, that is full top T2 beaten down by this Cho'Gath.
Yes, a lot of gold going over to the Syndra. Very, very scary. She, as you pointed out, she's very, very close to how Rabadon's has been saving up. As we see the TP, is that from the Cho'Gath over in the bot side? Yes, it is. They're not going to go for the dive. Obviously, like a Cho'Gath at this tanky level 12 has some stacks as well on his ult. Not easy to take down for sure.
Yeah, there is a 0% chance that you're landing that dive onto, like, even the build, admittedly a little bit Build-A-Bear right now. Winged Moonplate and Bramble Vest and No Magic and Shirelia's and deep, like he's kind of garage sailing it up, but they thrift shopping. Macklemore would be proud, but it still is enough base stats that you want nothing to do with them in a heads-up fight. I'm pretty sure he just straight up beats the Azir at this point.
Oh, definitely. You're just looking to pop some tags on this butt turret here as well. That would be all of the three turrets, as well as the top tier 2 taking us. 4 turrets in quick succession just for the dragon. Although RADX, they are proactive. Again, the synergy from the jungle and the support moving together, getting vision down, looking to pressure the Syndra off, and they're looking to engage.
Yeah, Cataclysm will be forcing that flash. Syndra paying respects, so Summoner is enough to get them out. But it is just a trade, and trading up every single time. RADX doing the best they can with what they have, as we have a Killer Instinct popping on in. Wiggy's can eat one more tower shot down to double-digit HP. But Azir not there to punish. Fancy feet up in the top lane. Meanwhile, it's gonna be fight picking off, and yes, a no flash, no life. Gray screen, he is dead. Shutting down the Azir. They have a massive engage from the top laner. World Ender comes to life, and RADX aren't willing to give up without a fight.
Indeed, and it comes to life to end Syndra's world right there. Like the very, very capable Syndra, up so much gold, 2 items, a full Rabadon over her lane counterpart, just get instantly dinked. Well, I was very surprised that the kite actually went in. The Leona actually lives from the Scatter of the Week into the Syndra ultimate, and then the Aatrox just pops off. Just goes in, gets the double kill, cleans up both shutdowns as well. That's going to be a very fed Aatrox.
You can kind of piece it together, a little bit of Sherlock Holmes, and you see a million orbs on the ground, a Leona on 10 HP, and a Syndra really far forwards. You gotta know that Small Kana's putting on the acting performance of a lifetime, drawing them in, and as you said, shutdown secured and closing that gold gap a little bit. They have so much standing gold in the side lanes, and that is going to be a big shot in the arm for the economy of the Red Squad.
Definitely. Looking at the item breakpoints again, however, still advantage over to Vitagen. They are still up 4k gold. The dragon should be coming up not so quickly, but they still are down, like full item or half item on the mid lane. Half item on the top lane as well. Actually, no, he does have the Trojan right there.
Wiggies might have been able to get his top laner to safety, as there's a flash out from a solar flare as the J4 descends and everyone piles onto the dinosaur. Wiggy's bought him a moment, but can he find the rest of it? Pop Blossom onto 3, engaging but no follow up. It looks good, but can you find more? It's single file, they run on in. Divide and conquer. RADX find 3 in a row, back to back to back, as they close this guild lead, and Azale is looking to keep this party going. You can't go conga lining in one after another. Disrespect and hubris immediately punished.
Oh, it's a story of what should have been for the Vitagen Heart. Like one by one, they just see the angle, the 4-man Nico ult, the 3-man as they're going in. Oh!
Here, Emperor's Divide, swing and a miss. They're not able to find Zik and forced to flash away from the Heartbreaker. 3k HP. Smite fight going both ways here. Jonathan Isaac will not make his way into the pit. Thornbound Atacon for RADX. They even kills. They take Atacon. A huge swing back in this game as we take one more look. A's not able to find his exit strat.
He just caught on the side wave, as we were mentioning before. Like if he actually managed to play the side, he just ults the trigger, and then the Nico sees her. She sees her moment, and she goes, "It's my time to shine." But that's a Nico support with 1 item. She doesn't do enough damage. Same again. She ults the Syndra, ults the Leona, but just too tanky to take her down. And then she just gets sucked into the vortex. They will get the dragon off of this, but definitely a lot of gold that RADX just got. There was no way that they should have gotten that.
Leona with Aftershock and W may as well be made of tungsten at that point. You're bursting with huge amount. Like, this is nothing to sniff at. Syndra's damage right now, she's straight up skipped in the T2 boots to go for more damage. And Leo's just shrugging it off, you know, hunkering behind the shield and drawing people in. That is a big gold injection. Gold lead closed to within 2k. Drake's equal. Atacon claimed. RADX might have just stabilized this boat.
Indeed, they have. Like after such a controlled early to mid game from the blue side, as they're going to collect this. I don't think she can stay here.
Cav has R. Cataclysm spent, and remember, yes, a no flash from the previous play, trying to turn onto his ear, slides on in. Power unleashed, only gets a third of his health bar. This is G-Feng and Cav coming into the game late and swinging for the fences.
As we mentioned during the draft, if you manage to isolate the Syndra on a side lane with Azir Jarvan, she has no flash. She has no business just staying under this tier 1, and they're going to get the tier 2.
Tier 2 complete. We were talking about the standing gold that they were looking to claim. They've claimed it. Look at this gold lead. They're within 500 from...
It was 5K!
I was going to say 4.5K to 500. Knock a couple digits off it. That's an impressive comeback early on.
Indeed, it is an impressive comeback. And the items are coming in. Remember, there's an Azir and a Syndra, very, very hyper-scaling late game carries. If they can get the gold on these characters, they're gonna do a lot of damage. And remember, this comp from the blue side relies on team fighting 5v5, blowing someone up, and then just playing the game afterwards, like 4v5. If they 5v5 versus Azir, Kai'Sa with 4 to 5 items, that's not fun. The Azir will outrange you, will outpoke you, will completely destroy the Cho'Gath, especially with that build. And yeah, they actually make it. Oh no, Smallcom's lower.
Gonna be kicking off here. Smallcom has the resistances to spend, and he doesn't have enough of them. Wiggy's gonna be pop blossoming his way into a double kill. Yesay swings back in this game, getting his first 2 so far. Demacian Standard doesn't interrupt the recall, and Vitagen Hearts quashing the rebellion and taking back a little bit of advantage.
Smallcom doing his best Hylissang impression there, just walks in 1v3 into the bush, trying to contest without no vision, and Ace has found another pick.
Silence, Halo Blade spent down to half HP. Ji Feng, he's going to be running back home, tail between his legs. Baron all but secured. No Jarvan, no Smite.
It's just gone. It's just gone. A single pick. The Diona dies, the Jarvan gets caught afterwards, and they just lose the Baron. And all of their hard work, they narrowed down their deficit from 5k to 500. And in a flash, it's all gone.
Somewhere out there, one must imagine Sisyphus happy. They fight their way back. They pull this within 500 gold, and in a moment, the boulder runs back over their feet, and they must once again try and climb this 3-4k gold lead. Yes, they find a scatter and an escape as a result. Solar Flare only a slow. Swing and a miss on the engage here as Leona does not get it, and once again, 3k gold lead with Drake in 90 seconds. I feel like I've seen doing this before.
Yeah, and they set up the 1-3-1 again, although against Baron, they are wasting a lot of time from the Baron. Actually, being able to come up to these waves and clear them, it buys so much time. It buys so much time. Because there's only like 2 minutes left, and not a single one of the waves from the blue side is actually past the river mark. They're not pushing these waves in, so they won't be able to collect any gold from the tier 2 in bot, I don't believe. Maybe they can actually get it on the last wave, but it's so delayed. They won't be able to breach inhibitors, or at least they shouldn't be able to. And that's just free time for the Azir and Kai'Sa to keep scaling.
No, I assume this inhibitors should be able to stand. It will net them a Drake, I would presume here, with 40 seconds before that comes up. Press them back into the base, then you can rotate out to the Drake. But Inhib's likely to stand, and when your base remains, you've got plenty of time to just clear this out. It might be a bit of an engage. Smallcon looking, but thinks wiser of it. A's looking to cut him off. Rupture does not find the Kai'Sa, and flash from Leo. Support trying to run, snagged up with the stun, and everyone is escaping. RADX with a bit of a clincher, find their way out.
Definitely, they do lose the tier 2 and they lose the flash on Leona, but they are trading. They are making the conscious decision, realizing that the map is not favoring them. We just lost the tier 2, we're going to trade it. But losing Dragon, obviously they were going to lose it anyway with this much pressure on the bot side of the map. But trading tier 2 for a tier 2 versus Dragon that was already gone, not bad. Not bad, not bad. Advise you another 5 minutes of time before the soul. That is Hextech soul as well, so you cannot give that over to a bursty comp. You will just lose the game outright. So maybe Jonathan Isaac looking for a pick.
And he's gonna be hanging out in the fog. And all of a sudden, I want to bring your mind back to the Cav steal here as we have a hold that thought. Aatrox gonna be losing 2/3 of his HP as a phosphorus bomb lights him up, pushing back into the base as the top laner. Remember Cav with the smite steal? Yes, they paid with it with 3 lives. Yes, they paid with it for the feats of strength component. But no Hextech soul. All of a sudden, you're taking that deal a little bit more often.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like Hextech soul right now would probably be GG for the blue side, barring obviously like huge. Oh,
Or
Aces
no.
are caught.
Ace is going to be jumped on, but the rest of the reinforcements are here, and it's a split fight for RX. Prey is not going to be a jump in quite yet. Cav and Prey on the right-hand side. Small Con, Azael going to be walking out on the left. The group of deathballing Baron spent. Tensions mounted.
Yeah, as we mentioned, this is exactly how they want to play this comp. They want to group up. They cannot side lane. They will just lose to the Azir on the side. They just want to group up, find a little bit of CC on someone, anyone, and just light them up. Syndra has been having some issues trying to blow up the Leona, but she has been trying to do it solo. So with a little bit of help from her, Viego, it should be easy. Like Jonathan Isaac and just Sager, like together, should be able to knock down one person, especially with the core key damage. Like as you mentioned, the phosphorus bomb like just lit up the Aatrox earlier. So now looking at the item breakpoints, they're still 2.5k gold down. The gold will start to matter less and less as the game goes on. 3 items on top, 3 items on mid, 3 items on bot. Very close, I believe, if not already reached that triple evolve for the Kai'Sa with the tier 2 boots as well. So she's online. She's definitely online.
Oh, certainly. Online, I think, is an understatement at this point in time, right? 3 item Azir, 3 item Kai'Sa, both of them with target access thanks to their mobility. You don't even have to worry about the positioning because you can always get one get out of jail free card thanks to your spells. It's going to be trying to find the cleanest of angles, and A's empowered recall gonna buy him an exit, and ooh, nerves there.
Symbiotic Soul saved the day again.
Half the recall time. So underrated sometimes.
Indeed, to get you out of this situation. Aatrox is caught.
He does have Blast Cone though, and it will be a bit of a walk away. He's got Flash, so no death will ever occur. Doesn't even end up needing to spend it. He's got the Umbral Dash. Aatrox out to safety.
But look at this vision on the top side. Double ping, double ward. Like there's absolutely nothing the red side can see over here in this top side. And with Baron spawning in a minute, like if you face check any of these bushes and there's a Viego and a Corki, you're probably gonna die.
Even Smallcon, who has seemingly had a knack for living on single-digit HP, you're looking at Locket versus 3. These items are not comparable. However, Blue Ward spent. Smallcon just on cue is exploding. I feel like the reverse casters hold that thought. Ember's divided over the wall. Wiggy's gonna throw the pop blossom. It blows up before it gets off. A's engages. Bang, Golden blown up as well as the Aatrox tries to get something back here. World Ender, one man stand. Can he find anything left? Prey free firing. He's got 400 HP, but it is 3v1. Prey limping to safety. 4-for-2 trade. Vitagen Hearts blow up one, and their comp executed exactly as they wrote it up.
Yeah, exactly. Beautiful team fight from the blue side, and it actually was. I mean, it wasn't close, but it was almost close here. With the once the Viego gets the reset onto the Azir, or the Leona rather, the Azir comes in, and we actually see like they can actually take the fight. But the Azir dies here. Viego gets the double kill. The cap goes back in, and here Kai'Sa actually takes down the Viego. So you think it's almost playable, but Corki arrives to the scene. Aatrox can't clean up, can't one tap the 3 members, obviously. So the team fight goes over, and they haven't reset. They're looking to play the Baron, but can they even do that?
They have Feast though. They have Feast. Ace is going to be able to secure this more than likely here, waiting on that steal down, securing it, recalling. No one's able to contest. So Baron secured. 30 seconds left on the Drake. If you're RX, you need to teal this away.
Oh, this is going to be a tough 30 seconds. They seem a bit lost. They want to get Prio for the Dragon coming up in 20 seconds, but they have Baron recalls. They're going to be here, and they're so much stronger right now, especially with the Baron. They actually gave up Prio on this mid wave. I don't think they can even contest this. If they don't contest this, they're going to either lose Soul or they're going to lose the inhibit.
Inside track here. If you're on this blue team, however, Slowcon can be jumping on in, going Golden. Zonya's pop. Syndra in a world of hurt, flashing away. Cataclysm spam. Pop Blossom is here. Ultimate in the wombo combo. Here comes the Viego resetting onto 1. Looking to pick up a second body. It is Zikan with the cleanup. Gatling gun firing. Corki is untouched. And in one fell swoop, 5-for-0 Baron in hand. Vitagen X are going to pick up game 1 in this Bo5.
Indeed, this should be the game. Not a single member from the blue side of Vitagen falling here in this team fight. They do find the pick on the Syndra, but she does have the Zonyas, and when you're able to mitigate at least some of that incoming damage, you can just survive long enough to buy enough time for the Viego to come in to just pick up in the Azir, especially when the Azir actually dashed in. I'm pretty sure the Kai'Sa dashed in as well. So when all of your carries are stacked up onto one single tile of the mid river, then it's just so easy for the Viego to clean up.
We had 8 members within a single Nico ultimate. It was a 4-man ult and 3 teammates dogpiled in. It was a big mosh, and if you're in Azir, not at all where you want to be. He's trying to find the hero play, but so much time bought. As you said, we were said at the very start of the game, Syndra's your litmus test. When she was 0-2, things were looking rough for the Vitagen side. It was kind of here, there, contested. Then she got rolling, and it felt like it was very Vitagen from that point on.
Yeah, indeed. Like we did talk up about Jasaja, like obviously like with really good stats, really stable mid laner. Did have a lot of control in that mid lane. Obviously the flashless Azir being half health level 1 does do a lot in that matchup. It does help you to get these waves in, does help you grab control. Obviously, when you find yourself in the position to 2v2 to get the double scuttle on the Viego, then a couple kills come in. Obviously, that's very good control moving in. I would have expected to see a bit more from the mid lane Syndra, especially when you get that much of an advantage. So her being 0-2 after that start that she had didn't impact the game because the top side and jungle actually worked really well to keep these advantages coming. But in the end, it doesn't really matter. Like, it's really clean stuff. The RADX side just didn't get the opportunity to play the game out. They were lacking a bit of frontline, I feel. The Aatrox wasn't there to soak up as much damage as they would have liked, especially when you have a Kai'Sa and Azir. Even with these items, they still need a bit of time to actually go in and deal the damage with their auto attacks. You can't just one-tap someone, just go in, pop, and they die, just like Syndra and Viego do. You have to play it with a bit more time, and they just didn't have that time. They were just too far behind, I feel.
No, they were absolutely hurried to get it done too fast. As you saw the Azir and the Kai'Sa both jump in, they needed to get the burst off. They couldn't quite play out their style. And I will say this, RADX held incredibly well. They were cross-mapping well. They were stealing objectives. They were finding picks. But the problem with holding out and playing defensively well is you're still playing defensively. You're not playing your pace, not your tempo. It was Vitagen's game. RADX were making good plays in it, but control very much firmly in the blue team side. So I'm curious if that is going to be a blue side swap. Remember, Fearless will throw another wrinkle in this, so I'm looking forward to seeing what's next. We are guaranteed 2 more of those. I'm impressed. I'm hyped. I'm looking forward to keeping it going, but we are going to jump into a quick break, get ourselves ready for Game 2. Vitagen taking on RADX Game 2 right after the break. And welcome back to the Vitagen Community channel here for the SLE lower bracket finals, game 2 between Vitagen and RADX. I am Sandbag. Once again, joining me, Colibri. Vitagen picking up game 1 in, we're not gonna say dominant, but we're gonna say consistent fashion. So I'm looking to throw it to you. What adaptations are we making here if we're RADX to try and push us to that even scoreboard?
Well, I think consistent is the word for it. I mean, the solid in every lane, pushing lanes, obviously, good matchups, good CS leads, good comp identity, very good idea of how to play the game. Some hiccups here and there, but definitely some positives to keep moving forward into game 2. So something to keep in mind for game 2 is obviously we are playing fearless. So the 10 champions that we have seen on the Rift during game 1 will be unavailable for game 2. However, the champions that we have alluded to during the draft for game 1, we haven't really seen them. So, for example, the Threshers, the Pikes, the Rakans, and the bot side, we haven't really seen them yet come in. So maybe we see them now.
Very much could be the Rakan OTP still yet to pick up his champion here, as we have the bans on screen, Vi and Poppy taken away for RADX, alongside the Zinzao, Fiddlesticks, and Varus for Vitagen Heart. Blue 1 Pantheon. That's what we like to see.
Very strong pick, Pantheon. And the immediate counter here of the Wukong Orianna, very strong, very stable. Very strong picks as well for these two players, jungle and mid. Very good on Wukong, very good on Orianna. It matches their style, and it's pretty easy to play around as well. Same thing with in terms of identity. Syndra Viego, very strong burst heavy single target identity. Orianna Wukong, same thing. We go in and we play, but the Silas is locked in on the other side. It's just a statement from the RADX mid laner here.
That one is a bit more of a gauntlet throw. That is a champion who is looking to get in your face, and Lucian to round it out. We were talking about the shotgun comp on the blue side in game 1. RADX said double it and give it to the next draft. Lucian, Silas, Pantheon, 1, 2, 3, short range, and looking to fight you.
Oh, definitely. The Lucian is a very strong laner, but it does need to be paired up with something strong, such as the Nami or the Braum, in order to actually play it out. And we're just seeing comfort picks across the board here for Vitagen. Obviously, the Vayne locked in.
Vayne locked in. Vitagen is going to be calling the bluff of RADX here and looking to fight it out. You said the Nami, you said the Braum. I'd also like to highlight the Emilio. That's a champion who has immense synergy with both, primarily the Lucian, but even the Vayne wouldn't be too upset about it. And there it is, going to be knocked off the ban table. Vitagen following my line of thinking. Braum available, but it is very short range comp if you go that way. I'm curious to see, okay, Braum is going to be taken away. So every single one of the picks that we called out, taken away. What is that next tier? What is that B tier you're looking for here?
I'm surprised, and they actually lock in the Shen. So they actually want to sort of build around this Wukong very much. Just give him the ball, give him the Shen ult. He just goes invis and then just dashes into this very short range comp and just wreaks havoc on the backline. That is definitely what Vitagen Heart are going for here.
Also worth noting that Vayne can do the same thing, right? You're tumbling forwards, you get a Shen ult with that Stand United and just dump him into the backlines. There's going to be another scrappy draft. The Rakan that you alluded to in game 1 will be taken here for the RADX support, pairing up with the Lucian. Perhaps a bit unorthodox? I'm curious of your thoughts.
Definitely unorthodox, not the best lane, especially into Vayne, who has a very, very, very good ways of getting out into the Rakan W with the Vayne tumble. For me, this just screams comfort. Rakan, obviously, we mentioned that Smallcon is a Rakan OTP, so making sure that he gets his best champion. And the Olaf is locked in as well. Such a scrappy comp. We're going to see a lot of killing and a lot of dying this game. I can guarantee it.
If you're RADX and you fall behind, this comp is going to look like the most grief thing that's ever been assembled. And if it gets ahead, it is going to look absolutely unstoppable as you just march your way in their face. This is a dice roll of a comp here.
Oh man, you were talking about shotgun. I mean, that shotgun better be loaded, because if it's not loaded, or if it misses, I don't know where you're going with it. It's just really like 12 gauge, one tap, or you do absolutely nothing.
We are approaching blunderbuss territory. This
Oh,
thing
yeah.
takes about 10 minutes to reload. It's going off once, and it's either someone's dying. It's either the person in front or behind it. Who knows?
Yeah, I hope you got that water ready, because there's going to be a lot of short calling, because a lot of people are going to be dying. I'm telling you, this comp is it's so aggressive, such short range, next to zero wave clear, zero, no mage, no range. If you fall behind, as you said, on this comp, there's nothing. You have no outs. You can barely like side lane against Shen, and with the Wukong that can actually move. The Vayne is also very strong into the Olaf. You can get away from the axes. I mean, I have to give it to Vitagen Ha here. Like it's such a much more stable comp. The karma is, I would say, slightly. It does give them pressure in lane, and they were able to work with that pressure in the bot side, getting their Corki up to speed in game one. So that is definitely something that they can work around. The Shen is just make sure that the Olaf cannot actually like destroy any lane. The Shen is a very stable pick, especially with the recent buffs he's gotten. So I have to give it to Vitagen Ha here.
See, I would okay. This is where it's got me stuttering here. Hang on a second. My head says Vitagen. It feels like the more stable, more reliable, sure money goes to Vitagen. At the same time, I feel like it's not often that you get reps against a comp as, let's be honest, psycho as what RADX have just made. So if if they have prepared this and they know their numbers and they know that they have lethal in certain spots, you can absolutely shock Vitagen members who haven't had as many reps against these players and these comps with just brute force and frustration, right?
I have to agree. I have to agree. This is definitely something that they're actually going to play it out, and they're just going to say, all right, look at my hands. They're better than yours. I click you better, and you're going to die. And if you die once, you're probably going to die twice and a third time, and the game is probably going to be over. Because if you actually fall behind on this comp of Vitagen Ha, they can just roll you over. Pantheon, Silas, Lucian, Rakan, Olaf just screams in, go, 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 go. And if you have a gold lead, and if you can leverage that, I mean, the Olaf will just run over you. Any member of this comp can just run over you if they have a gold lead.
Yeah, legit, all 5 members can actually just right-click at you. If they get to a position where they're an item up, for example, all 5 of these guys have a mobility-esque, all right, Olaf, technically it's undertow, he slows you, it's not mobility, but he will go unstoppable and he will run mock Jesus at you. And he'll just right-click you. That being said, if they don't have the ability to access those Vitagen members, I feel like Wukong Orianna, especially early on into this game, are going to be able to just space comfortably. Unless, barring some sort of silliness that goes on in someone's, level 1 shenanigans, or there's some overload somewhere, you should be able to just hold the game close, hold it comparable, and you've just got a much more reliable team here for the Vitagen side. So again, I would lean their way, but this is it's in the name. You got to bring an X factor here for the Rad side.
Indeed, but I mean, let's state the obvious first, because I feel like we're going to be talking about the RADX champions much more this game, because it's going to hit or miss. That's for sure. So Vitagen Ha, as we mentioned, very stable. Orianna, very good laner, especially into the melee of Silas, can do a lot of damage and apply a lot of pressure with the Clockwork Time Up. The Wukong and the Shen will lose 2v2 to the Pantheon Olaf, but if they can actually work through mid, and the fact that they actually have a ranged support in the bot lane means that they should be able to get some pressure. And as we mentioned, the Shen, the Orianna ball onto these 2 invisible carries of Wukong and Vayne, very mobile, very damage heavy. If they can actually get some damage down and not die instantly to the burst of the RADX comp, I mean, it should be lights out for them. However, there is a lot, as we mentioned, there is a lot of damage on this side. Lucian with a piercing light can do a lot of damage, especially early on to the Vayne lane. If the Karma doesn't have sustain, she has poke, she has shielding, she doesn't sustain. If she misses out on the Qs, if she cannot shield the piercing lights from the Rakan or the gleaming quills from Lucian and Rakan, if the Vayne doesn't manage with her short range to dodge out with her tumble out of the piercing lights and the gleaming quills, they will get poked down, they will sustain damage, and they will have to give in the pressure to Lucian Rakan. Pantheon will be able to team fight, or rather to fight 1v1 versus the Wukong, especially early on. The early fights should be sort of RADX favor, especially with the sort of bruisery style comp that they have. They just want to get down and gritty with it. So definitely something to look forward. They want to look for fights, they want to push their leads forward, and they want to eke out every single advantage that they can find.
Exactly. And you're trying to leverage blood from a stone, if at all possible, because a lot of these Vitagen members are very Stonewall-y type champions. Shen, who has got that Spirit's Refuge, Vayne with her Condemn, Ori with her Shielding and Karma on top of it, right? There's a legitimate argument to build one of the least built items in the game. Serpent's Fang might genuinely make an appearance this game. Between Karma Mantra E, Shen Ultimate, Orianna E, it actually might be legit to go a little bit of shield busting here between one of these members, probably, Pantheon, for example.
I'm pretty sure you're correct. Look, the Serpent's Fang does go quite well into the Pantheon build. Not really an Olaf build, not really a Lucian item either, but definitely can be built by the Pantheon. No other innate shield breaking capabilities, from what I can tell. But yeah, Serpent's Fang is definitely a good call. Itemization wise as well, I'm really looking again at these breakpoints. If Vayne can actually get out of the lane with not too far down in CS, and if she can get her bulk up as well as tier 2 boots, she should be able to play out the game decently well, because once she gets to these items, she gets a bit of mobility, a bit of sustain. She can actually move into the side lane and actually play around the Olaf. Obviously, Pantheon, Sylas, and Rakan, like just dashing at her and just point and click CCing her will not be fun. not that much peel, and like obviously there is the Shen to help her out, but Karma isn't the most durable of champions, and once her shield is gone, it's gone. There's not much else she can provide. So yeah, I'm looking at Sylas, Pantheon, getting, if they can get ahead and if they can actually neutralize the Vayne, make sure that the Orianna cannot play the game, they actually have a decent chance, because this comp from Vitagen relies on gang up again. It relies on using these capabilities that each of these characters have. So the invisibility from the Wukong and the Vayne, the damage and the sustained damage and the mobility from the Vayne, the shields from the Orianna, the Shen, the Karma, the taunts, all of that just comes together to create space, to make sure that they can actually create a situation where they're going to actually play the game, pace out their opponents, dodge the skill shots, and deal the damage. If they are not allowed to create that space, if they are not given the time needed, if Pantheon just goes W, Q into empowered auto attack and just instantly one taps you with the Serpent's Fang, you have no way of getting the shields down. It's GG. There's nothing you can do. So these breakpoints are really important in that sense.
They absolutely are, and I want to point to one stat that I don't typically, that will be at an absolute premium, is move speed. When you have a whole heap of melees into a whole heap of range, and you're trying to play keep away, move speed becomes an outrageously valuable asset. And I'm looking towards the Karma Mantra E. I'm looking towards Final Hour giving move speed, Ori speeds. Like, Vitagen have ways of playing keep away that, while they might not be the most mobile per se, say Orianna or Karma, for example, they do still have the ability to space. They still have the mobility to slip spells, those piercing lights, those cullings, all of the sphere. Like, they are able to try and be a bit more slippery than it might look like on the surface. And unironically, it means feats actually matter a little bit. Upgraded boots can be the difference between a chase down and keep away.
Yeah, absolutely. As we are getting into the game, I want to take a quick look, and there is no cleanse on the Vayne. No cleanse. Exhaust on the Karma definitely will help, but no cleanse. So definitely looking to leverage that that firepower in lane, trying to get a bit more of an advantage there, but no cleanse. So the Pantheon will be having a field day when she tries to jump on it.
Also, more than likely going to indicate a Mikhail's Crucible can be purchased. If you're Karma, you're more than happy to pick it up, and it is nice to be able to dump that onto both the Orianna and the Vayne. If there is point and click CC or beat cleanses to be had.
But as you mentioned, move speed is really important in this game. So if you're going for a Mikhail's, that just delays your Shurelya's, it just delays your redemption, it delays your whatever you might want to be looking to buy for this Karma. So any point of any amount of gold that you can get onto this bot lane or onto this Karma is also very valuable.
Absolutely. I mean, it's trades. It's got to be trades one way or another. Either you rock the cleanse and you have effectively 300 less HP off this barrier. Oh, trap blade. Jonathan Isaac. How's your nerve here if he's going to be holding out the staring contest?
Oh, they sense it out. The Shen is hovering.
Oh, face checking. This is a bad day to be a monkey here, as Jonathan Isaac doesn't even flash first blood. RX wanted a little bit of queso, and Jonathan Isaac bit down hard.
Effing shot for Harambe. Poor lad just gets taken out level 1. Nothing you can do. Pantheon Olaf on his face. There's just nothing you can do. And there's aggression in the bot side as well. Just lost the flash from the Karma.
It's going to be just straight up relentless pursuit. Grand entrance, small con and prey, leveraging bot leads. Jonathan Isaac is starting camp number 1, 2 minutes into the game. If you're playing a bit of a mental comp, the blunderbuss starting to get a little bit of powder in it early.
Oh, and a good trade here from Xifeng. But the Clockwork Time Up will be able to trade.
Yeah, nice clockwork one. However, Cav does have flash, leap strike forwards, and gets the one shot. Like, Cav, sick of playing Jarvan duty. He wants to be getting it done himself. That is 2 swift kills to the RX side.
That is a beautiful start to the game for RX. Just a kill on the Pantheon, a kill on the mid laner as well, and the flash gone from the bot lane. That is so much pressure in this. Oh, as the Shen dashes in, very good trade here. Just shouldn't be able to get the kill. But yeah, so much pressure.
Oh, this is just fearless though. From flash you. That is shield bash diff. A's picking up the solo kill and punishing the aggression out of the Olaf.
Oh, just as we were hyping them up, just like game 1 in the counter matchup, playing the tank against the Bruiser, just gets the solo kill, just flashes on his face and just bops him.
Ace has definitely been getting the better of him up in that top lane here, as we have Xifeng gonna be trading out quite comfortably, taking the worst end of it on the retreat as barrier popped prey down to 100 HP of his own. The Cav's gonna be spotted out on a ward, so the rest of the Vitagen bot lane can escape whenever they wish, just wasting time, not gonna be putting themselves in harm's way.
But this is crucial. The Cav is hovering on vision. They failed the Rakan dash. He's hovering on vision, just lost 15 seconds while the Wukong has been taking his topside and going for the mid lane play.
As flash E forward, Xifeng forced to flash away. Jonathan Isaac not flashing in pursuit. Might actually been crushing blow with enough damage to kill, but instead lets him off with a sum spent.
And the Pantheon is now going to be down in CS after this play.
Yeah, it was, I mean, honestly, that's more of an outplay from the Vitagen bot lane to have the vision control, to be able to sell it where, oh, maybe a play can work here, maybe you want to stick around, Pantheon, maybe you want to, no, step back away from the W range of the Rakan. It's just a good sell, and it's playing with information leads.
Definitely, and you can see they're actually pushing the men even after losing the early flash from the Karma. Health advantage, mana advantage, even CS lead. It's just, in such a lane, that's really impressive.
Xifeng dashing forward, long range E underneath the structure, flash away from Yese, Comet Spear, not gonna throw it out here, does not have the range. Yese's got 100 HP and mana cumulative, and still sticking around for this wave.
07, that is, I can respect that. Just could have easily died to the Pantheon over the wall. Did not have vision, but stays, grabs the extra way, not the extra way, but the extra CS. Will be able to back for the tier most probably, and TP. Oh, actually no, he has used the TP. Both TPs down on the mid lane. There's a lot of fighting.
Absolutely. I will call out one small thing. To my knowledge, bone plating actually saved yesterday. I'm pretty sure I watched that flash up on the combo, and I think it actually reduced enough to keep him on his feet. So that is the margins of error so fine at this level.
I didn't notice. Has he gone on the resolve tree?
I'm 90% sure. OBS,
Wow.
so you will flip over to that. I'm pretty sure I watched a. If we flip over to green, does he have it? Can we confirm that? Yes, no. Bone
He
plating.
does.
131 damage
Wow,
reduced.
good
Okay.
call.
My
That
eyes are
is-
still good. Unk
that
still
is-
got it. Bone
That is
plating, keep it up.
interesting. That is very interesting. Like clever adaptation. It's not often that you will see an Orianna just go resolve second. Usually mid laners really like to take inspiration to get that nice these boots or cosmic drive to get this extra utility in or the extra money. Resolve is really respectful, and here it saved his life.
Absolutely. You're more than happy to be trading off on a little bit of stats if it means that you're able to remain with the colored screen. I know they made the change, but still, you don't really want to be experiencing that new spectator feature too often.
I mean, I have.
So,
It's a bit too much to my liking. But that's another story for another time. As the dragon is being taken by Jonathan Isaac, helped out by the Orianna, will miss some CS. But dragon taken, and slight gold lead over to the blue side. But definitely something that they can work towards. Getting a dragon this early will help them scale better into the late game.
no, it's not really going to contribute much early on, right? It's a little bit of stats, and it's another token towards it, but it's more towards that second and third that you really start to care about them. It's still nice to pick up, but I'm looking towards this next kill and that next component towards feet. We have Grand Entrance spaced beautifully. Zicken has been playing on that edge. That's twice now that the camera's down here, right on the cusp of that Rakan W.
Yeah, and the bot lane from Vitagen actually done really well to keep the gap like very, very small. Like as we mentioned, these tier 2 boots on the Vayne hasn't gone for the sustain yet, but if you dodge all the spells, there's nothing to sustain. You just full health all the time.
You don't need Vamp if you don't get hit. I like
Yeah.
your way of thinking here. So we have a moment, right? Junglers are not quite going to be colliding for these grubs yet. You have the support starting to weasel their way on over. Rakan and Karma both showing. How are we liking the 3v3s here? Which way are we leaning? Grand Entrance, Shockwave underneath. That's 2 tower shots and a trade of Shockwaves, but it's 2v3. Here comes Jonathan Isaac. Cyclone, Spent Comet gonna be falling from the sky. Grand Starfell, immediately exhausted, and Exhaust does not have enough through. That have once again just short walks in. Wukong, a fraction of a second earlier, does claim that Feats of Warfare component, but Yese, arrogant, eating his spear for his troubles.
Pantheon just dying, turns around, loads up his spear and goes bang straight into the face of Jasea, gets the kill. But here the Wukong ult plus the exhaust just cancels out, and the Cav just doesn't get the kill here. Just dreadful to see, and he actually dies for it. He does get the kill in the end. Very good spear, like landing there at the end. And this will open up the way for Jonathan Isaac and the rest of Vitagen to actually claim these grubs.
Absolutely. They're able to secure the rest of these grubs. Ed, and Eddie will go the way of the red team here through Exhaust. Once again, a great call out here. Isaac getting that Cyclone off. Even the Exhaust, even the Cyclone, he still almost had the damage to get it done. That's the power of the Panth early. And now we settle into a spot where bot lane in a bit of a sticky situation, 2 members, but they will not go. Pantheon lurking, not gonna send it.
Still getting some decent damage down to the spot side. The Karma was just resetting after being at the grub, so they will lose quite a few minions there. Lost. Oh, and the Rakan goes in.
There comes the Shen ultimate, though. If you send it, you have to keep that in mind. Prey does have flash. He throws out the barrier, doesn't spend it. It was actually part of me 2-3 seconds away from Lucian's flash coming up. So an ult down, a TP up, and A's back in time to hit these creeps.
Big overcommit from the bot lane of RX here. They cannot, they are not allowed to commit to this dive if the Shen ultimate is still up. It has to be communicated. It's really an oversight that they are not allowed, especially with this comp, which has no means of climbing back into the game if they fall behind, to make the mistakes of these type. Like, especially at this level, if the Shen ult is up, you cannot go for solo dives like this. It's just not allowed, and they will pay dearly. And the Shen will not lose anything. He's even up in CS, applying pressure to this Olaf that hasn't really done anything like past level 1.
Those 2 creeps that he TP'd back for ended up being the whole CS difference, right? Sure, you're going to be even out here as he catches the rest of the wave, but like you said, he didn't even lose anything for it, and it was a big punish to settle the CS leads. What was ballooning towards 15-16 is now within 9. Grand Entrance definitely stepped away from 2-man Shockwave, and yes, I just making fun of him in the mid lane. Wiggy's here to reinforce, rooted up, chains connecting. Zhifeng forced on his heels as the Cav looks to pull something back. He's waiting in the river, and everyone's here for the party.
Shen actually comes in. Oh, the flash
on in goes. Beautiful moves here, but Cav's all on his lonesome. 4 members push him back. It is Karma getting the last hit on Zhifeng. This blue 2 mid laner pick is not paying off how he would like.
I mean, he is applying a lot of pressure, trying to actually outplay, but I think he might be overplaying. He just feels so pressured. Like the whole of RADX, they just feel pressured, obviously, to make things work. Because if they, as we mentioned, if they fall behind or if they are not ahead at the 15-minute mark, they will just lose to hyperscaling to Vayne, and Illusion and Silas will never be able to cut down through a fed Wukong and a fed Shen. It just will not happen. So this is why you can see the Cav and Zhifeng just looking for these very aggressive plays. The Karma face checks. Ooh.
It's gonna be a quick little walk away here. Wiggy's not gonna be receiving the business end of the spear. In the meantime, second Drake connecting here for this red team. Jonathan Isaac moving on back to these camps, and this one actually matters a little bit more. 2-0 puts him on pretty solid pace for what, 25, 26 minutes towards this soul?
Definitely, and they are keeping up in CS and XP as well. Even have a level leading down the bot lane, as Zhifeng is still going forward, so aggressive on the Silas.
He feels the clock ticking. I also feel the clock ticking in this mid lane. He needs to try and leverage it before this goes on. Condemned, spent, small con, still finding his knockup with the quickness as 3 men descend. Ace is here to reinforce thanks to that ultimate. They continue to drive forwards, and they continue to be stuffed at the pass. Small con now down to 400 of his own. Ace just a thorn in the bot side here, as now it's Zhifeng. He has a flash, but does he have an exit? Jonathan Isaac, abscond, spent, Cyclone, going, ticking over the wall here, flash, and he gets the Q bonk. The Monkey King spins to win, and that is continued aggression from VGH.
Clean from Jonathan, picks up the kill thereafter, and yet another overextension by the RADX mid laner. And again, we see this bot dive where they have no vision of the Karma, no vision of the Shed. The ult is back up, and they just fall for it yet again. Expand the flash, and it just does nothing. The Vayne is allowed to free hit. And they go back in again. Oh, small comp.
Snapped alive, condemned into the wall here, but Prey is looking to put the hurt onto Wiggy's, blows him up as quick succession. Flash forward, piercing light. Zicken lives on a fraction of a health bar, 23 HP to his name. The Cav circling, play the Jaws music. Q does it channel, steps away, and now the Dance Revolution. Can he find an outplay? No, condemn. Cav bashes him over the head with that leap strike.
Outplayed. Just go to all chat, just type outplayed there. Definitely a counter overextension there by the bot lane of Vitagen Heart. I'm not sure because we were in the beat pick, but I feel like after pushing that wave in, they just didn't reset. They just got the enemy bot lane just reset, and they just caught them napping, trying to push an endless wave that they had no business pushing. This is the big problem with Vayne. Like, obviously, strong champion, scales very well, decent sustain with her build, and very high DPS, but absolutely no way of pushing waves fast in any way, shape, or form. So if you do not have wave control, if you don't have a jungler to babysit you and push the wave in, you just cannot be allowed to push waves in on your own, especially on the reset timer. So just a call again, man.
Yeah, wave clear, not exactly a forte to say the least, and Prey identifying that, trying to jump forwards, but once again, it feels like every time RX try and make a play, not only is Stand United up, but so is the exhaust. Wiki's twice now has just dumped the exhaust on the Pantheon's head and negated it up in the top lane here. It might be an engage onto Azazel, who's just going to be walking his way to safety. Red team picking up this Herald. Feats of Warfare were already secured. But they're picking moments to fight in the bot lane where everything is up. Every single neutralizing tool can just be blown, held until another play, and blown once more.
I mean, that is the issue with the shotgun comp, as we've called it. It's so easy to identify the win con of the composition. If you identify that they need to go in at some point and just dive in with everything at some point, you just keep everything that you have and just use to counter it when they actually do it. This is why they actually need to multiply these instances, which is what Prey is doing right here.
Prey is a very aggressive stance here. It's going to be two-man quickness. Zekin, Cav, stunning up so far. Leap Strike already spent here, trying to find the rest of the damage. But Zik now turning this into 2v3. Prey's forced a barrier away, dashing forward to the other side of that. Rakan W. It is incredible moves here from Zik, and he's got the tempo stack, and he's feeling it. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map off screen, Olaf finally finds his footing in the game. Solo kill onto A's. The Shen taken down and couldn't find the ultimate this time.
Wow, really good footstep by the Vayne here. Tad over eager, I would say. Not really sure if he had the damage to push in there, as we see the Rift Heralds actually pushing in. Yeah, they're going to get the turret. Yeah, very good movement there by Zikan. Actually, Wiggins might get caught here by the Rakan. No, he's safe.
No real follow-up damage, though. Yeah, I mean, a W forwards would have been a knock-up, but then what? He's still got Flash, Exhaust, he's got RE. There's no way Rakan has the damage to kill there, even with his Ignite. So now becomes the dance. W forwards onto the back line into Prey's arms. 200 HP. This Lucian chunked out. Smallcon is forced to battle dance away. He will get a Gleaming Quill to stay alive. Shockwave spent defensively in the middle of two people. Jifeng, but here comes the Stand United. The cavalry has arrived for the rest of Vitagen Hearts as they continue to march forwards. Jonathan Isaac this time on the receiving end of the Pantheon damage. Good movement. Everyone's got the blue suede shoes. Cav lives on 100. No one hits the dirt outside Jifeng. Everyone living on slivers here is up in the top lane. We're keeping it going. Azale over the wall. A's taunting, ring around the Rosie. They can't find the gap. Close. Remember, no flash. And it will be a long escape. Undertow spent. Does he have the damage? He's going to be opting into this fight here. Unstoppable popped, but can't go under structure as they continue to chip it away here. Dodging. Oh, no. You don't want this fight if you're Olaf. Here comes the rest of the A's damage. Taunt CD. He does have it up. Can he find the angle? Long chase. The tension mounts. Who flinches first? Who blinks? Oh, the tension. Okay, walks on out.
I really thought he was going to go for it. Olaf was solo, but again, Olaf is so dangerous at these low thresholds of health. And Jonathan Isaac, we see, just sends it over onto the Lucian, manages to relentless pursue his way over the wall there, followed by Smallcon. Again, such small margins, same as game one. And here we see absolutely insane shockwave there from Shifeng, where he's insane try. He had 4 members in his sights there, just flashed out and can't seem to connect, and there's just not enough damage. They just go in piecemeal, and the shotgun just doesn't really do damage.
The individual micro on this game has been absolutely elite. Slipping skill shots, playing to the absolute limits. You have both the bot lane members here from RX who are able to slip out on slivers. You have the top lane fight. You have the sidestep onto that Comet Spear by Wukong, who's able to live to tell his story on the way out. We might be looking to run this straight up back. Drake, in the meantime, was secured, so it is 3-0, and worth keeping in the front of your mind.
That is huge, actually, for the red team. Getting 3 Drakes means that they can absolutely forego any sort of play on the bot side of the map for the next quarter of an hour, really. Jonathan Isaac is actually looking to trade.
Dashing forwards, Conqueror stacked level 11 versus level 12, and yet this is Silas coming out worse for wear, down to 2/3 HP.
That's a really strong monkey. He is not happy after getting killed on his red buff level 1. He's just looking for some revenge. And the 0-4 Silas, although actually looking to put some pressure all throughout the lane. He's 0-4. He's 0-4, and the enemy Orianna is 2 items with a fully stacked Seraph's Embrace. As Jonathan Isaac's looking to, it's just so aggressive on these midways, using the invisibility.
However, we do have more members for the rest of RX marching on in. That is a full 5-man unit, just walking their way on into the river and looking to establish themselves with some authority. But side lanes, a little bit lonely at this point in time.
Yeah, definitely. Both teams know that like whoever like has the fewer members on the single screen will probably lose the fight because there's just so much damage on both comps. So they absolutely do not want to find themselves in a position because RADX know that they need to win fights, they need to scrap it out, and they need to eke out some gold advantages as they're going for the Atachan here.
This is an aggro call here, not swept either. This is perfect information for VGH. They're just gonna let them bleed themselves on these resistance shreds, march up mid lane, and take some structures in the meantime.
They're not even gonna contest it. They're giving it to them. Like Vitagen Heart are just going, you want Atachan? Okay, sure. We can just stall the game out, probably grab a tower or 2, take your whole topside jungle. We're actually gonna take the tier 1. It hasn't fallen yet. So 2 towers going over for the Atachan. Remember, they're just scaling. They're just saying, all right, you want to trade? Okay, we'll trade. We're not going to give you the fight that you want. We're just going to keep playing them up, and hopefully you can do something with your non-existent wave clear.
Okay, but at the same time, that was let's take inventory right. That was mid T2, topside jungle, and top T1 in return for an Atachan on members who have no Drakes to buff. So XP, obviously a very valuable resource. How do you like that trade here at the top of your screen? What are we liking on that one?
It's not a good trade at all, obviously, for the blue side. They just feel so forced. We've seen it throughout the game. They felt so forced from minute 1 trying to make things happen. As Jonathan Isaac is looking for a play, the final hour is popped.
Final hour spent is a flash away. Here comes the Nimbus strike on in. Jonathan Isaac once again slipping away from this Rakan W. He just has the footwork, and Zicken firing, flanking, comes in as he's exhausted. Shockwave onto 2, both backliners. Here comes the steadfast presence here. The rest of the Yesei is going to be kiting away from this fight. Can he get the first execute? Jonathan Isaac gets a pair, and it is just red side domination. Triple kill to the Monkey King, cleaning up the ace for Yesei. This is a huge engage for the rest of Vitagen Hearts, and that Atachan did not do it for him.
Nah, definitely not. They were looking for a fight on their terms, but here they just find themselves in a position where they're just engaged on, and they're just going again piecemeal, one by one. The Lucian tries to get the damage down, has to go away. The Rakan tries to help, gets chunked by the Vayne, has to go away. The Silas goes in, tries to shockwave, flashed out, gets exhausted, and almost dies. Then the Olaf says, "Oh, it's my turn to go in." There's just not enough synergy in these fights. They're just not playing together well enough, I feel, and it's really coming back to bite them.
Wukong got the glory, but did you see the damage when Aze arrives? Taunt and Howard Q? Titanic. Just absolutely demolished the health bar on arrival, let alone the utility that he's providing. This feels like, I don't want to say death knell, but you very much run out of road when it comes to your style of gameplay here for RX, as you see a 3-man dive descending. Silas has no way of playing his way through that. Structure falls directly next to the mid lane defender, and Vitagen Hearts survived the early game. They held their ground. It's going to be a channel from the Pantheon Ultimate onto Zicken. Can he find his way onto Vayne? Condemn spent. Here comes Smallcon once again, not able to find the knockup, but the quickness does connect. 12 and dead. Vayne will fall. Shutdown finally secured.
Actually, they got the tier 2. Will they trade tier 2s? No, the TP from the Shen will actually prevent them from doing this. But yeah, you can. We were saying how desperate it looked like they felt during the game, but now it's just so rough. You've just fallen behind on your shotgun comp. You're down a Hextech Soul. You have a Vayne and a Shen on the other side that you're never going to be able to kill. You have a Wukong with stacking like AD resistances, like stacking armor that you're never going to be able to kill because she has 5 kills. I mean, it's so rough. Like, what outs do you have? The only out that I can see is managing to isolate them on the map, as we saw earlier, trying to find the Vayne in an isolated spot with no Sums and no Karma and no Cleanse, no Mikhails, and just blowing her up. But these opportunities are just so few and far between.
They're absolutely slim to none. Somewhere out there, Trollulu, if you're still in this chat, you can start already celebrating, popping the champagne. He was calling out the Silas early of it's so tough to try and blind here as we might have to hold that. Small Khan's going to find a knockup on the Isaac. He does always have that Warrior Trickster over the wall, so he clones his way to safety, and this might be one last stand here, but this is a long chase into the backlines. 3-man Nimbus. Here comes Jonathan Isaac. Small Khan trying to sell for as long as possible. The immune does not mean invulnerable. Double kill to the Vayne. Zitkin's got the chase down on that ultimate. Slowed by the Hex Tech Drake. Triple kill to the marksman of Vitagen Hearts. And they had one last roll of the dice. They pulled the trigger in a misfire. That is very, very desperate for the rest of the RX game state.
I mean, I don't want to jinx it, but it's unlosable. It's just unlosable. There's just no way. There absolutely is no way from this position that Vitagen Heart would lose the game. So, Baron, the 8k gold lead. There's just no way that they can actually lose this game. They have pressure everywhere. They even have barriers still up on the Vayne as well as the exhaust. They're just unstoppable right now. There's nothing that RADX can do.
No, unfortunately, there were very few inroads, and you officially hit the portion of League I like to call hope, as we see one more look at this.
As they see the culling tries to put the damage down, but the Shen disengage is really good. And again, they feel so desperate. The Olaf feels like he has to go in, but the beautiful turnaround from the Shen and the Nimbus from the Wukong and the Vayne has just free firing on the backside. And the granted the Orianna and the Silas are not there, but even 4v4 they just completely wreck this fight, and Zika is just popping off.
And so far, this is more than likely looking at an 0-2, right? Let's be honest with ourselves here as we have a whole lot of movement speed. Jonathan Isaac looking to get this done in a hurry. He's got places to be and people to see. He's looking to close this out. Shockwave combo, that's the classic. Wukong, Ori, and the finishing touches are going to be put on the base. Structure falling. Olaf lives up to the namesake. He's going to be sent straight to Ragnarok. A noble death for the Viking, but he can do nothing but watch his lands burn. The rest of Vitagen Hearts are going to march down and put the touches on the Nexus. 7-21 in 27 minutes. BGH putting us on match point.
Beautiful game from Brett's side there. Absolutely beautiful play. They identified their win cons and their lose cons as well. This is very important as well. Identifying if there is only one way for you to lose the game, making absolutely sure that there is no way that you can lose the game that way, and then you're good to go. And this is exactly what they did, being respectful, playing around the dives, making sure that they're all on the same screen, playing together, using these advantages that they actually garnered throughout the lane to actually push themselves and get these dragons, get these advantages, and they just played it out really cleanly. Good effort from RADX. I respect that they actually pulled out this sort of comp, but it's just a shotgun comp. If you miss, you miss, and there's no coming back.
You ain't reloading this one, so unfortunately, as much fun as it did look on paper, I also want to give credit to someone who was a huge threat consistently, and that was Aze, right? This is twice now that he's taken the quote-unquote, losing matchup. He's the one who's trying to mitigate early on and is finding his way into contributing bot lane, mitigating the Olaf's reign of terror in this game and holding him at bay. It always feels like it was right place, right time. Sure, one death we can excuse into an Olaf, but he was such a difference maker in this game. Jonathan Isaac got the glory, but I feel like Aze maybe gets my nod for this game.
I've definitely played really well game 1 and game 2. All around very solid performances from the side of Vitagen. Obviously getting the solo kill on top, surviving the lane and bot side, and the Wukong absolutely carrying the game through stellar team fighting, even after being put behind level 1. Losing your buff, dying level 1 to Pantheon Wukong, and then the Pantheon strolling mid, killing your mid laner, being 2-0 up after 3 minutes is not fun, but really good recovery, really good team play. and just an all around really, really, really good game from them.
Absolutely. And as a result, Vitagen Hearts, best of 5, put themselves on match point. It's going to have to be reverse sweep territory here for RADX, or Vitagen Hearts looking to send us home early and punch their ticket into the next round of the playoffs. Game 3 coming up right after the break. Ladies and gents, welcome back to the SLE lower bracket semifinals here. I am Sandbag. Joining me, Colibri. On the precipice of punching their ticket into the next round is Vitagen Hearts taking on RADX. We're looking to turn it around. The reverse sweep, still on the cards here, but an 0-2 mountain to be climbed in the meantime. Draft on screen. Colibri, what do we got to do to get game one? Let's start this comeback. How do we get there?
I mean, definitely looking at comfort and less, should I say, desperate drafting. I'm sure you can, because the play from RADX has been pretty clean overall. Vitagen has showed that they can take leads, obviously, in the early game and play these lanes well. But I would like to have some sort of more stable comp for RADX, just similar to game one, where it was actually much closer. As we see, they're already taking out the Varus and the Ambessa on the Vitagen Heart side, as well as the Zin and Tristan on the other.
Yep, as the rest of these bands are going to be chipping on through. Maokai is going to complete the set for this blue side first round. Bit of a jungler pinch on both sides, some ADs off the table. And remember, we are still in Fearless, so there will not be any returning champions. No Syndras, no Wazirs, the rest of these folks. We don't quite have the overlay, but there will be champions not quite available. So Blue 1 starts to get a little bit more creative here. What are we looking for Vitagen?
I mean, some of the OPs are still up because you can still play around with the Jinx that's still up. We still have some mid laners as well. Obviously, Syndra Ori is still good, and the Thresh that we were talking about at game one. But the Wiggies is actually a really good Thresh and Pike player. So just insta-locking the Thresh, just full confidence, going all right to see what you have into it.
Rocking a 60% win rate to my memory. I think that was a number that was off the top of my head. He is more than happy to slam this, and it's also counter pick me. I dare you. What you got here? If you're the RADX support, you're gonna try and get on top of this Chain Warden. Zeri gonna be the answer on the other side. Pentakill Pikachu showing face once more.
Pentakill Pikachu, I like that one. I was thinking about. I was wondering if RADX will be looking for a Graves here on this side, because we actually know that the Cav is actually a really decent Graves player. It's mostly playing solo queue, and they're actually going to go straight for the Bard, which is an interesting choice into the Thresh. Like it does outrange the Thresh, and you can poke him well, and the Cosmic Binding does do work well into the Thresh, especially since he wants to step in front of his ADC in most of the cases. But can still get run over by the Thresh if he is not ahead. If the Bard cannot get ahead, he will not be tanky enough to sustain the damage taken from one hook and the subsequent follow-up. But the Vi is going to get locked in on the other side, so very much pick-oriented from the Vitagen Heart side, looking to punish the Zeri.
It's a classic answer into the Zeri. All the mobility in the world doesn't matter if you are point and clicked from a screen away here, as the Twitch going to be rounding out this first phase of picks. Thresh, Twitch, Vi. This is why we love Fearless. As a fan of the game, getting into a little bit more of the weeds, this is bread and butter here.
Definitely Fearless on the side of the Vitagen, just locking in the Twitch. Twitch really good into ADs such as Zeri, such as Jinx, these hyper carries that actually really that are actually really good at dealing damage up close, or actually with their auto attacks. But if Twitch is hitting you from half a screen away, then you're not going to be able to do much to them. And these lower priority ADs in lane actually allow the Twitch to actually survive, because Twitch, being a very bad laner, does mitigate that. If you can actually get Twitch into a decent position, he can actually wreck teamfights in the late game. So the Poppy answer here is stable. It will create some issues for the Vine. Not the best W usage, the Steadfast Presence usage so far, as we're just banning tanks across the board. Galio and Ornn are both out.
Absolutely. It is going to be a little bit more of the rigidity, going to be taking away the structured members. Perhaps the Scion going to be in on that heap. Remember, Cho'Gath was taken out in game one, so you will not be seeing his rather large face gracing this ban screen here. But this is a bit of a curveball comp from RADX, Bard, Zeri, champions who have high highs, and the floor for both of these members can be rather low, to say the least.
Yes, indeed. And the as I was mentioning earlier, I would like to have a bit more of a stable comp from RADX. This is why they're going towards the Poppy. Can be flexed obviously into the jungle. No way that's going support obviously with the Bard already in place. Although they are expecting it seems like Vitagen are expecting the Poppy to go jungle because they're banning top laners here. They're not expecting the Poppy to go top, which would be sort of my expectation because so far, Az has definitely had the advantage from the top lane perspective as the Annie is locked in on the mid lane. Very strong laner, got buffed recently, very strong.
Yeah, recently got touched up a little bit to be a bit more target agnostic, right? Tibbers getting a bit of pen to my memory. I don't have the exact buffs up on the top of my head, but he's got a little bit more pen. He can chunk through a little bit more of, it's not just flash Tibbers the backline and hope that the bear can beat him to death. It's maybe a bit more well-rounded, a bit more stable, as you were kind of inferring.
Yes, indeed. Although it does require the Annie to get out of lane, depending on the matchup, and we see the Ziggs locked in. Ziggs will have a lot of push into Annie. It's not a matchup that I'm particularly familiar with, although I do expect the Ziggs to be able to wave clear pretty efficiently. And the Annie pick is you can see it as a sort of a mix between Talia and a hard engaged champion. Like you just want the Annie to push waves in, have wave control, and just roam to side and just blow up anything that she can find. When you're faced with the Ziggs, who's just going to stay again half the screen away from you and just lob bombs over, and when you find yourself again against a Mundo who already has his passive, which will prevent him from getting CC'd on the first instance of frag control. This is really good drafting, I feel, from Vitagen Heart, really negating these advantages that RADX are looking for as the Gnar comes in to close out. Okay, so the Poppy is going jungle indeed. Good rate from Vitagen.
Yep, scouting was absolutely done. Gnar going to be rounding it out, and this is far more normal. I will say that much.
Yes.
Sure, there's a little bit more spice, but in terms of Game 3 and Fearless, this is still a relatively tried and true comp. You're looking to try and play off of your picks, try and keep your Zeri firing. In a straight up DPS battle between the Twitch and the Zeri, I actually don't know who I favor.
I mean, it depends. It really depends on the context. If they're on the same screen, just looking at each other, like hand-to-hand combat, the Zeri will absolutely demolish the Twitch. There is no, in a fair fight, she will absolutely demolish him. With the W, with the ult, there's no way the Twitch wins that fight. However, if the Twitch just sneaks up on you with his Q, with his ult, and he just blitzes you from a screen away when you're in the middle of the mid-wave with no wall to jump over, the Zeri will get absolutely smothered, and there's no counterplay.
When you're a ranged champion with the luxury of stealth, it is just that. It is a luxury. You get to pick your moment. You get to kind of settle down into the back lines, let the Mundo absorb a couple of spells, some of these critical components of the Bard ultimates, right? The Tibbers. And then all of a sudden, once those have been forced out, then you can open up. Then they don't have the ability to just jump on you and knock you out of that spray and pray. So if you do have other members who are able to draw heat, Twitch can shine. If he is forced to try and pop it early and he's on his heels, if he's the one who's retreating, trying to bail out from a fight, Zeri's gonna chase that rat all the way back to his sewers.
Definitely. And what we've actually seen so far in the league, at least from my experiences, the Twitches are actually really, they are quite strong. I actually need to check the win rate of Twitch in the league, but what I've noticed is that Twitch will often find himself in a position where he can actually get out of lane and actually be a threat during the mid game, where you can actually pop the stealth, looking for ADCs or side laners to just pop his ult on and just go ham over in the mid game and in the late game. But it's not necessarily an engage tool, but it's definitely some place or rather some way that teams can find engages, or at least at least out of macro situations where they cannot seem to be able to unlock the puzzle. If you cannot find a side lane to go to, if you cannot find a push, you can just send a Twitch out, not necessarily on a suicide mission, but just send a Twitch out, look for something, and if he finds a carry, just pops him, and that's how you get a fight started. Because apart from the Thresh and the Vi, there isn't that much hard CC on the side of Vitagen Heart.
That's a bit of a funny sentence, I will say. Apart from the Vi,
indeed,
it was pretty much hard CC with some hands. You're guaranteed to get something off, but the question then becomes, then what? Because I do also want to highlight the fact that you have a Vi Ziggs. If you're a Zeri, you're just taking 900, 1200 damage, and there's kind of nothing you can do about it. If the coordination is there, the Vi ult and the Ziggs bomb duration are roughly synonymous. So all of a sudden, you're eating sweet spot of the Ziggs ult, and the cease and desist, and the vault breaker, and the Vi, and then all of a sudden, how is Zeri meant to play this game out if those are threatening components to an engage?
Of course, it is a rough spot to be in as Zeri, especially if you find yourself in a situation where you can get Vi ulted into the Mega Inferno bomb, and with the Twitch opening up on you, which is why obviously it is a good way to counter the Zeri, low range carry, which needs to actually hit frontline and to have uptime in order to deal damage. However, the instances I can see where RADX are actually winning is if they can actually move together, make sure that they have a vision of their opponents, push these side waves in, because Gnar should be able to play decently well into the Mundo, and look for avenues where the Annie can look to pop a target. The Poppy can also slam someone to a wall. The Bard can follow up. If the Zeri is here as well, if they can find a fight on their terms, they definitely have the tools, the CC, the frontline, the extended damage, and the damage distribution as well to destroy some of these targets easily.
On their terms, absolutely fantastic call out. They smash a fight. Every single legitimately every single member of RADX can kick off a fight on their terms. Gnar ult, Annie ult, Poppy E, Bard ult, Bard Q, Zeri diving in with her move speed and just straight up fist fighting you. They have the ability to send at any given moment and put them on their terms. And I will have this big asterisk because it feels like Vitagen have been getting the better of them in the early games. The lanes, I want to call out A's again. They feel like they're the ones getting set behind. Sure, some creative plays early on have been netting them some wins, but in terms of those first 15 minutes of the game, they're usually coming out 3 or 4K behind, and that does not bode well for a comp that needs to fight on their terms.
Absolutely, this is something that we've seen reoccurring. It is something to do with the matchups as well. When the drafting does go your way, when you have favorable matchups, you are able to play these out. However, we have seen that they have found advantages. My mind darts to the bot lane of the Vayne Karma versus Delusion Rakan. Delusion Rakan is and can get a lot of pressure down, especially with the Pantheon hovering level 4. But they were able to actually mitigate a lot of these advantages, like alleviate pressure and still come out with advantages. So I think we're seeing slightly better laning from the Vitagen Heart side, which does net them these advantages, which is also why I was really hoping for something a bit more stable, something that they can play with from behind for RADX, because if they consistently find themselves at a disadvantage with a gold or an objective, at a gold or objective deficit, it is really hard to play if you do not have these comeback mechanics in your comp.
And so we should have ourselves drafts completed in the very near future. I unbiasedly would love to find another game here, but I do want to give a slight edge to this blue side. It might be a swift 3-0 here. RX looking to prove me wrong as we hit Summoner's Rift for the 3rd time. A full-on 5-point spread. No full-man, 5-man shenanigans this time. Which gives us a moment to breathe, kind of set ourselves up for this one. How do we look to try and approach this to crack this open?
We see the same pattern as game 1 and 2. the mid and jungle looking to square up together and get vision up into this raptor area. It is being protected by the Cav, as I believe Aze has been spotted by Azazel. I think he was in the bush to see that.
Cleaver flying past his head.
Yeah.
There's a bit of a tip off. There might be a Mundo lurking.
It goes whoosh into your face. Like, there might be a bloodthirsty surgeon right behind the wall there.
The Skyrim guards must have been the wind. It must have been Cleaver sticking out of his shoulder. Hang on a second. In the meantime, we do have ourselves, I was going to say, pre-flight checks, seemingly fairly standard all the way across the board.
Yeah, we do have the cleanse this time from the Twitch. Didn't opt to take it last game. Has gone for it this time. Very good into the Annie, the Poppy, even the Na to some extent. Because if you can dodge at least some of these CC spells, you'll be in a much better spot. Because Twitch is very prone to getting engaged on. If he can keep like some distance, he's fine. But if he finds himself having to brawl it out with bruises, hand-to-hand combat, he doesn't really enjoy that. There's a lot of damage from Zikan. Wow.
Ray down to 100 HP 2 minutes into the game. Sure, he's got some pots to work with and both subs still remaining, but you're gonna need a bit more than the Bard Shrines to top yourself up after that one. It is good pressure here by the Twitch early.
Definitely did not see what happened there. Didn't see if he actually got caught by the death sentence or if it was just the Twitch invisibility. Pops the Q with the attack speed and just goes ham onto the Zeri. As we were talking about, if the Zeri can just auto the Twitch, she's fine. But if the Twitch pops out with the attack speed buff and just starts just wailing around on this poor Zhonyan lady, like she there's just not much she can do. Just takes a whole chunk of damage like that, and these are lane losing situations. If Prey cannot get bailed out here, he's going to lose so much. Oh,
great hook. That sentence is going to force the barrier. Ignite traded, flash spent, expunge, and the shrines. That is a very nice death sentence. And at the very beginning of the stream here, Colibri, you called out Wiggy's on Thresh, and he is not disappointing you so far.
Absolutely beautiful play there. The death sentence living up to its namesake. Prey is just on the brink, teetering on the edge of the abyss. As the Jonathan Isaac is also looking, he actually dodges the vision. The Poppy is around to hover, but that is a lot of pressure. Prey just feeling actually he's not going to go. Oh!
You in Smite Steel. That one may not have the biggest impact on the game, but that's a big impact on the mental. As a jungler, I'm upset about that one.
That's a swag dubstep Ignite if I've ever seen one, or dubstep Smite rather. Just yoinks it right out of the Poppy's nose, and it's already 12 CS up. The Poppy felt pressured to actually. This is the ramifications. Oh, Fang
has flash, can be jumping in and not knocked out of the air. Steadfast Presence was not in radius. Doesn't even have to flash. Jonathan Isaac just getting everything he wants and more.
That to me screams. That Feng is just not confident on the champion. Has not played it enough to realize that he cannot W there. Just doesn't have the range, and in the course of the event, just forgets to flash, doesn't flash, and just dies. Just free first blood to the Vi, who gets a perfect beeline from like full clear into pressure bot, smites the enemy blue, goes to bot grab, gets that, goes mid, picks up a kill, doesn't even flash, picks up the second scuttle, and is just so far ahead of the Poppy right now.
If you could script a jungle clear to start the game in the first 5 minutes and to start channeling the recall at exactly 5 minutes, it would something like that. 11 camps and a kill, gonna be coming back to fight with look at this, just that's an embarrassment of riches down there. Tunneler, longsword, glowing moat. You're just loving life as this Vi.
I mean, it's the Vi from Arcane right there. He's just so OP. She's just so strong with the Tunneler. So much gold. Like, ahead so much gold. I would like to see how much gold she is ahead of. But this is, it's such a big lead so early in the game. It's not even 6 minutes.
600 golds. That is 2 full kills. That is effectively a 2-0 Vi running around if the CS was even in 5 minutes. That is rough here for the RX reverse sweep that they're banking on.
Yeah, definitely. Still, obviously the game is not lost. They do have avenues back into the game, which is what we were talking about in terms of comeback mechanics. They should drop the streak. They know it's coming in. They have no vision. They have no control. They just cannot contest this. So yeah, they can still definitely play it out. They can note to get some farm onto their carries, and maybe they can get a fight and a decent fight with some decent items, and they can play the game. But for now, decently to Vitagen.
I mean, we are talking big because in isolation, that is enormous. But when you kind of zoom big picture, that it's less than a K. Like this game is still a huge amount of road left to go here. We're looking at not even level 6 is completed on these bot laners. There's still so much to be had here. It's just a good tone set by the jungle here for VGH.
But it's so similar to what we've seen so far in the series. They Vitagen just eke out an early game gold advantage, maybe even a Drake, and so far what we've seen is that they can usually carry these advantages over as a Cav is just
aggressive pings. Level 5 versus level 6 though. Vi more than likely just wants to take this fight heads up here as the rest of the members gonna be coming on in. Cav and Jonathan Isaac go on fisticuffs. Blue buff will not be slain in kind. Cav was looking for a steal of his own as A's connecting with that cleaver. Comet popped, has that satchel charge to try and zone on out. A bit of an awkward fight here as Mundo goes where he places passive popped. Azael not going to be jumping on in to keep it going. In the meantime, Gromp just straight up hit on out. Jonathan Isaac trying to find an exit, and this will likely be a Gromp steal in the meantime. A whole host of folks in the middle here. A's going to be jumping in the middle of 3 people. What is he doing? Mundo, run for the hills. Ultimate flash spent. He will live. Meanwhile, off screen, Zfang's going to die. Tibbers will not avenge him. And that is 2 kills in a very messy jungle fight.
I'm kind of stunlocked. That sequence of events just made no sense. The Cav, literally like 1k gold down, level 5 to level 6, walks up to the Vi in her jungle. It's a 3v3 in that jungle. She stands in her face. She should die. She should just die, but she just doesn't. The way she was posturing just screamed confidence, and Vitagen were like, maybe they know something that we don't. And obviously the bard was on his way, but it wasn't that much of that. Like, he wasn't that close, and it was just a 3v3, and they just wouldn't take it. And Ace you could see it, like, the way he was posturing. He was like, I want to fight this. I'm level 6. You're level 6. Come on, yeah, we should fight this. Like, what's going on? And the team just like, no, it's cool. We can just give, and you can just play it out later. And you just lose his splash for it. Almost goes down as well.
Yeah, but that being said, almost doing a lot of heavy lifting in that sentence. Mundo remains standing. He's able to continue keeping his CS on parity, right? Moving over to that Comet instead of trying to go something like Grasp. You're never touching the Gnar. So, absolutely, a very strange sequence, to be sure. But at the end of the day, doesn't actually amount to a whole lot, right? Still within a K at the top of your screen. It's 1 Drake, a couple kills. I'm still waiting on the big play to actually break this game open because it definitely hasn't happened yet.
No, it has not. Although something that we have been seeing is, again, these lane advantages are slowly creeping in. Obviously, the Mundo is going to suffer into the Gnar matchup. It is not a good matchup at all, and the Gnar can just dodge out on the infected cleavers and has the range to actually bully out the Mundo early until he can get these resistances and health stats up. However, mid lane and bot lane, that's another matter entirely. The Zeri has just been getting pushed in, has kept it decently close in terms of CS, but it's still a 10 CS lead to a hyper-scaling Twitch who will be able to just murder you if he gets 2 items in the mid game. Same with mid. Annie was able to get a small advantage early on, but now it's just been equalized by Jaseja, and as we're looking for an engage.
Careful, Zfang might be looking to go here. Box already spent. Zig's ultimate over the top, held in place by the cease and desist. Feat of Warfare claimed 3 for 3. They are claiming this for the Vitagen side, and their early games remain undefeated.
And that's exactly what you call the cease and desist into the Mega Inferno Bomb. It's just so much damage on a single target, and they cannot move. They cannot do anything. So it's really well played. This is what we've seen 3 out of 3 games so far, as Azael is being cheeky and just denies the cannon there. Takes a cleaver to the face, but worth it. But yeah, like same thing as game 1, game 2, just really good mid-jungle synergy, linking up, playing with these ultimates together, and just coming out with great effect here in game 3 as well.
Absolutely cruising along here as we do have ourselves a potential river fight. Flash in the wall, stunned up against it. 2-man pop-up thanks to that Poppy ultimate. Wiggy's 200 HP also finds his exfiltration up the top of your screen. Ace gets the solo. Maybe one too many cleavers tanked. Ace making that one sting.
Hey, how does that cannon deny sound now, buddy? But yeah, definitely really good engage there by the Cav, as Smolcon is looking for more. His switch caught. He should be fine. His flash and...
No tempered fate. Yeah. I don't think this is going to be a kill here. Zicken slipping away here, hanging out in the stealth. Remember, no flash from Cav. He's going to be getting to the other side of the wall here. Cav taking a whole host of damage from the turret. Heal's not enough. 3v1. Zicken punishing the overreach by the Cav.
The Cav, I respect it, but that's reportable. That's just reportable. Like, this guy has flash and cleanse. You have no ultimate, no flash. That is... Zican just lets him know what's up in the old chat. Yeah, that's rough. There was a decent angle there over on the Drake contest. Again, the Cav really like leading the way here, like with the Poppy just going in, pushing his way forward as Xifeng might be dead here.
For the wall, cease and desist. Again, the combo is going to be true here. Zifeng, tempered fate, satchel charge with the snipe out. And he can't catch a break as he sniped from a screen away.
Oh, I don't know if you noticed, but he flashed out of the CC just in time to stun the Vi under the tower. Vi was going to die. Jonathan was going to die, and Xifeng was actually going to get the trade kill. But the Bard ultimate actually hit the tower. Hit the tower and turns it off, and so they get no trade kill. And it stun locks the Annie, and she just dies in the CC afterwards. That is so unfortunate. That is a tilter. That is a couple tilters that we've seen so far.
And if you're RX, you've got to shake these off, because it feels like, at least from the God view that we are, blessed with, it feels like it's starting to get to them a little bit. The Cav getting a little bit antsy on his plays. Zifeng being absolutely hung out to dry by Smolcon. The potential engage here up the top of your screen here is A's going to pop his ultimate. Goes where he pleases. Keeper's verdict, and the hammer of justice finds the Mundo. Gavel says guilty. Mundo dead for 26.
Really good decisive play by the Cav here. We've seen so far these players have been really let's say decisive. I won't say that they've always all been good, as we've seen, but really decisive. He just sees the play, he goes for it no matter what, and it's this quickness of execution that actually will benefit the RX side, as they're looking for another play. The Cav just straight out of the gate, swinging, looking for a bot dive again.
Full dogpile inbound, tempered fate available. Bard might be able to find this, and he does interrupt the recall of Zicken. 4 men in, tempered fate spent. TP on in to try and re-engage the blocks. Use Zifeng, have thrown to the wolves, and 3 men cover the 4-man dive. Vitagen have answers for everything, every question posed. They are passing with flying colors.
Beautiful TP by Aza, and Ziggs is even gonna get the mid lane turret with the push with the explosive satchel or explosive charge, I think it's called. Maybe that's just Sunny. I don't know.
Satchel charge. Explosive charge is Tristan. Yeah, you got it.
Almost. But yeah, definitely like ramping up. The Xifeng, I believe, was trying to hover over on the dive, was getting called, tried to drop the wave, ended up not even committing to the dive. The dive failed because it happened without him regardless, and he loses his tower for it. He probably loses the wave as well. 25 CS down now, and it feels like Vitagen are just running away with the game.
Yeah, it unfortunately feels like a collapse is imminent. So you need some momentum play here. You need something to cling to, as I feel like we've all been in these, where at whatever level of comp, or even just honestly, even in the solo queue experience, sometimes all it takes is one play, a bit of a morale play, you know, a smite steal, or a bit of an outplay of fancy footwork or something like that to kind of resettle your mental. Because this train is getting out of control. You need to stop this momentum in the near future. Next Drake likely going the way of the blue team. You need something to fix the mentals, or the heads might go before the game ends.
They either need, as you say, like some sort of tempo swing with a strong play, or they just need to chill out and just identify, okay, where's our win con here? We can actually play the game if one, the Gnar actually is able to keep bullying, actually gets the knock here.
Yep, Gnar to the wall. It's not going to be lethal. You still have that Mundo ultimate.
It could be.
So
it could be.
At any point now, he's just going to march on out of here. Mundo goes where he damn well pleases here, as he's going to be hopping his way on out. Running the opposite way, the hop, as he's going to continue to fight his way, opting into a fight against it, flashing into the wall here. Ace is going left, right, and center. He's definitely pressing keys, but he is eventually not going to make a liar of me. The Cav looking to try and change things, though. Mundo passive comes back up, and A's holding on for dear life. Smite and Poppy damage, just enough power. Shocked, does it have the trade? Not quite. The Cav is able to live his way through this. A's falling, but look at the house burning down on the other side of the screen here.
But this is great for RADX. This is exactly what they want. They're down, like, they were down so much gold, like 4k, and they actually managed to get a kill, plus 2 turrets on the top side. They're just trading. Obviously, the bot lane inhibitor turret also goes down. That is less important, although if the mid tier 2 does go down, that is quite a bit more problematic. Decent trading on the idea, at least, from RADX, and they're looking to punish on these exits. I'm not sure they're actually going to be able to catch anyone, though.
They are determined to try and fight their way out of this corner, though, as the Caps can be jumping on in. Death Sentence will stray. This is a rare miss here from Wiggy's Thresh. The highlight from the observers. Everyone misses a skill shot every once in a while. I saw it on my client. It's got to be true here. Smallcon going to be backpedaling. He was hiding, as the Twitch is going to be trying to hang on out on this flank. Zfang might not have the DPS, but Tibbers is still an AoE stun. We have the standoff in the river.
They don't need to contest this, RADX. They can just give this over. They are 4k down. I know that they actually want to play for it, but they don't need to. If they get poked out and if they get opened up, they still have all the ultimates on the other side of Vitagen Heart.
Nar's going to be jumped on here and losing 2/3 of his, make that half as the Drake resets, and the Ziggs chip, the Mundo chip, these health bars are getting lower and lower. Tempered Fate, Twitch spent the box. In goes Poppy, huge super mega death bomb, as here comes the Annie. She doesn't even get her spells off. Zfang down as Mundo holds 3 at bay. Zikian down to 300 HP is effectively out of this fight. He's still got spray and pray. He has the range if he wants it. 7k HP. They call it off. Red team will poke around, only lose 1 member, but the Drake nonetheless secured by Vitagen Hearts.
Oh, Jesus. RX just feeding themselves into the meat grinder. You did not need to contest that. You were fine. It's just second rate. Just give it up. Farm your camps. Push out waves. You actually have a decent play here. They were overstepping. They got 2 turrets bot, a turret mid, and they overstepping without resetting back into the mid lane. Just let them get it. Let them get it. Push your sides out. Make them bleed on the turrets. Get your money in on the Zeri. He desperately needs it. But you're taking a fight here against a 2-item Vi and the 2-item Ziggs with ultimates up, who have been absolutely murdering you on every single 2v2, 3v3, 4v4 so far in the game. Just let it go. Just take it a bit more chill, and there's definitely still hope for you in this game. Definitely.
Hope, alive, but dimming. And this is kind of what I was saying about they needed a momentum play. It's all well and good to say just scale, just farm, and play for Zeri, but from a psychological point, you need something. If you can just be, if you're bullied for 20 minutes, you need something to play off of, and yes, they might be that something here. Slam to the wall, flash spent. Maybe Ziggs is that something, as they do get the mid laner. They do get the shutdown. Jonathan Isaac knocked down with the wardens. Can someone get the ward on it? Blocking the lantern so far, but it's gonna be yanked away. A great hook as Wiggy's gonna be escorting Jonathan Isaac to safety. Zikin, Tempered Fate, wide. Does the rat have an outlet? No, he doesn't. Gnar finds him, and there is your moment. There is your strike back. Wiggy's gonna make it 3 in quick succession, and RX on demand gets some morale back.
They're alive! They're just coming over into the game. They get the fight, and they're actually gonna get the Atacon as well. This is so good. Again, they're just finding these opportunities mid jungle support, just teaming up together, finding a pick, and then they just play the way that Vitagen have been playing against them for the whole series, just picking them apart one by one as they try to get something out from this play. But there's nothing to be had. Just 4 kills, and as I said, nothing.
Mundo might be the doctor, but Calibri is the Frankenstein. It is alive indeed. As they look to keep this going, TP channeled. They are not letting him away from the Z-Fang, trying to corral this Mundo. He's got no ult, he's got no flash, and yet they let him live. They have their sights set on bigger fish. Jonathan Isaac, the Cav looking to slam into the wall, stand up against with that heroic charge. Steadfast presence. Zeri picks it up, and 1, 2, 3, 4. They stack them in a row. They do drop 1 on the Gnar in the meantime, but this is still huge signs of life here from RX. They are not willing to give this series up quite yet.
Yeah, bit by bit, they're clawing their way back, just piecing something together, something that they can work with, getting some money, some shutdowns here and there, shutdown on the Vi, shutdown on the Ziggs, shutdown on the Twitch as well. Just trying to actually get some footprint into this game, getting some money onto the Zeri, who is still unkilled, is even CS, has the potential to actually carry these fights if they continue to play out the way that these last 2 have. So definitely something that they can play around. And obviously, if we take a breather here and we look at the state of the map, 2 turrets, 2 inhibitor turrets down. So any bad play, any bad macro play or any lost fight will result in the cracking of the base for RADX. But in the meantime, their waves are still pushing through. They're still going to get the gold, and they're still scaling. So far, so good.
The hope yet burns. RADX are still in this one, and if you look at the top of your screen, they're within 3K. Something that felt a lot further away. Zekken RX going to be trying to run away here, and that is spray and pray spent. Which ultimate burned, and here comes the ward. Does he have something on the lantern? Cleansed away from the rest of the members descend on him, and yet the lantern, this dark passage, every single time right place. Luigi's finds another death sentence. They're going to be turning their attention onto the Poppy, Jonathan Isaac, both junglers in so much trouble, but it's Vi who falls first. Prey jumping forward, Ziggs zoning. That bouncing bomb would have been the death of Smallcon here, as the TP is going to be late to the party. Gnar can only clean up this wave, and that is a 1-for-0 pick. Vi falling.
Bit by bit, they're actually getting these advantages. Zekken just overextending. This is what we talked about. Looking for plays in the mid game, you just press Q and you just wall up to the mid wave trying to find someone. But this is a Zeri, and she's right next to the wall with a pink right next to it. If she ease over, you get 1 auto off, and you've revealed yourself. You have no Q, and you're in the middle of Narnia, as there's another fight
going, and they do find, yes, they Ziggs down. The mid laner gets his opposite number. Tibber is going to be leading the charge on in. There's no Gnar yet to speak of, but this is likely to be the Drake for this red team. RADX starting to believe, starting to gather some momentum, and they're going to pull this game to striking distance. 2 Drakes apiece, gold lead within 2 or 3K. They have closed the gap, and Zeri approaching 3rd item.
Switch the hopium to copium here. It's actually they're doing it 3, 4 fights in a row that they've actually managed to win after being down 4K and losing every fight so far in the game. That's actually really good recovery, although they are looking to trap here, and I think Smallcon might fall for it.
Death Rush, Bard is going to be locked up, but what's the damage follow-up? Tempered Fate, does he have an exit? E over the wall will not be in time. Jonathan Isaac getting the support here for Rad. And a bit of a moment. They've stopped the momentum swing. They're able to keep their pace and settle themselves. The runaway train, once again, will not be gathering too much steam.
Maybe Wiggy's going to get caught. Oh, Azazel is looking to go aggressive here.
Hopping forwards onto the Mundo. He likes his chances in this fight. Wiggy's lurking over the wall. It's going to be Gnar out. He will not have that. He will be exhausted for this team fight if it kicks off immediately. As once again, Death Brush, Prey can't be the one to take this, and he's gonna be jumped on by the Vi. Sees an assist, and here comes the Super Mega Death Market. Prey fighting for his life, dead to the Vi. The DPS has fallen. Cav is gonna be jumped on next as 4 more members jump in. Zeri will find her first death of the game, and her team with it. 3 kills go the way of Vitagen Hearts, and Baron just to sweeten the deal.
Unfortunate turn of events there. Really, really unfortunate, because the Cav is actually really looking to play up and forward, but the Prey is too close to the wall, and Feng is just trying to appeal for Prey, but he just can't do it. Meanwhile, the Gnar just goes flash Mega Gnar into the wall, but it's on the backline, there's no follow-up, and the Cav just doesn't have the damage to follow it up, and it's on the threshold of people, so just not enough juice in the tank to actually pull it over. And again, they just go for a play in a sort of weird spot.
It's also your Zeri's the one who dropped the pink ward to reveal the whole entire enemy team sat in that brush. Poppy was kind of poking and prodding, weaving away her on into that bush, but didn't have a ward to spend. It had to be Zeri, and Vi picks her moment well, jumping over the wall. Prey, he's not quite at that 3rd item, and Baron will make their job so much harder. You talked about a lost fight cracking the base. Right now, a lost fight cracks this series. That's going to be lights out if you get riped.
Yeah, absolutely. That is really like the only outcome there for RADX. If they lose a fight here with Baron, it's just GG. So they need to make sure that they get these waves in, that they don't get caught on off timers, that need to respect the enemy's tempo. And they need to give. They need to give this. They do not have the numbers. They do not even have. They do have TP. But with Ziggs and the pressure.
Instead, they engaged. Cav is able to escape. That would have been a very dire situation here for Cav. But instead, once again, this Poppy feels like she's getting away with murder a little bit.
I don't think Vitagen. Pause.
Okay, right as the momentum starts to gather to a climax, we hit ourselves a pause, and we're gonna have to put this on ice for just a moment. We'll feed you information as soon as we know what the exact situation is. I will quote this straight from production. Zicken has IRL issues. I maybe could have been worded better, but as soon as we have that sussed out, we will be launching back into game. Colibri, how are they going to do this to us? Look at this map state. How is this going to be a last stand put on ice by a pause?
I mean, the Cav has actually managed to make magic happen so far in situations where I thought it would be nigh on impossible for him to do anything. But time and time again, through just, I feel like sheer gusto, he's been able to pull things that I feel like he wasn't even allowed to. Like even here, like on this tier 2 defense, 2v4 with Baron up, no wave clear against the Ziggs. He just ease into the Vi. And I feel like he just has so much confidence that the Vitagen are just not expecting him to be like so over eager in his defense, and they're just not ready to punish because that Poppy looked dead to rights.
I'm certainly not playing poker against the Cav. This man is bluffing with the best of them. He's running in completely straight lines. Remember that play 5v, like level 5 versus level 6 against Vi? Bluffs them off it, and they're like, okay, you know something we don't. Sure, it's your blue buff, buddy. He's just eating in completely straight lines underneath the tower, admittedly dying for it against the Twitch, just flash. He's eating in straight lines up against this top T2, and it just feels like he's catching them off guard with this brazenness, I suppose is the best word. It's brazen. The only difference between confidence and stupidity is the outcome.
That's very true. That is very true. It's also a very good word. Might want to Google it later. But what I do like though about this sort of gameplay is that you were mentioning earlier that it feels like after watching their mid laner go 0-6 in 15 minutes, they might need RADX might need some sort of morale booster. So are we actually going back into the game? And the Cav, just to finish up on my point really quickly here, the Cav having the eagerness to actually pull out these plays just seems to give them the morale that they actually need to keep playing this game.
Keep it going. This is going to be spectator delay rebuilding itself. This is pretty standard after a pause. So at this point in time, we are getting a rare glimpse of slow motion. The siege continues and into Ziggs. This structure not long for the world. Tempered Fate, however, Azael into the wall, waiting for the Gnar ultimate. He does get on. Yes, they do. They have the CC. Ziggs slammed into the wall, and they do cut him out. He will pay for it with his life. This is Gnar for Ziggs trade, and A's continues to run unchecked through the base. Level 15, not quite rank 3 ultimate. Health bars low. Top T3 cracked. They get one, but how much more do they have left to defend?
Are they going to lose everything apart from the Nexus turrets? It feels like the mid inhibitor down, top inhibitor down, the bottom one is short to follow, and I feel like they do not have the tools to defend against this.
It does not seem so. We have that Keeper's Verdict spinning. Helicopter Poppy will continue to flail, but look at the beating these towers are taking thanks to these creeps. Down to quarter HP on the upper one, down to 3/4 on the lower one. Ziggs has TP. They might have reinforcements arriving with the Bard trying to chase down.
Oh, A's might be caught here. No, they're just going to disengage. They're not going to buy time enough for the Ziggs to come back. The Drake is coming up, and that's actually sole point for either team, actually. So they just want to play it cool, as we've seen so far. They like to play it chill. They don't want to take unnecessary risks, and they're just going to clear out this blue buff and move towards the Dragon.
It is the end of the day. Drake doesn't change very much, let's be honest with ourselves. This is only sole point, so it's not that Hextech Drake that really wrecked Game 2's chances. However, in terms of wrecking chances, I'm looking at triple inhibs. That is double supers in 3 lanes simultaneously. You got 2 minutes and 30 seconds to turtle up and farm, and then you got to try and fight your way out of the corner, because this is going to be quite the battle to try and turn around.
Yep, but that is the only objective on the map right now. It's the super minions, because Baron's not for another 2 minutes. Dragon's has been taken, and that does give them free reign to just for the Zeri to just free farm. 3 items on her already. Still down half an item to the Twitch, but she is going to be able to catch up. I doubt that she will be able to get another item before the Baron spawns. She seems very, very far away from that, i.e. Annie will... competing the Zhonya's Hourglass will not make that much of a difference. Same thing with the Thornmail on the Poppy. 3 items on the Gnar is nice as well, but nothing game-changing here either. And they're just looking to cleanly end it.
Let's just pray that really matters here. You have Azael up the top of your screen here. Gnar's got 3/4 of the Gnar bar managed well. Zicken gonna be on the receiving end of one of those boomerangs before he Gnar's out. They're gonna be jumping on mini Gnar and hope to hop to safety. Keeper's Verdict channeled once again is not going to be spent though, as they continue to poke and prod. That is 2 big tools temporarily on cooldown. Gnar will be exhausted. Poppy no ult at the moment.
Good defense so far though. They managed to actually take the Vial out, and they're going to be able to. They dodged the death sentence. But they couldn't lose this turret.
On the ult out, you've got to pull the trigger somewhere. You have to top up, buying potions, buying time, down to the Nexus turrets. This is going to be last stand. It's going to be death sentence connecting on to Z Fang, and the killing spree. It will be continued by Jonathan Isaac. They just don't have the damage. They waited too late to pull, and now it's up to Prey to try and put any sort of damage in. But look at the Twitch on the Nexus. They get it done. Zicken making it a 3-0 sweep. And that is Vitagen Hearts moving on to the next round, 3-0.
Absolutely beautiful play, beautiful series. I have to say, quite well controlled. With goal leads most of the game. I don't think we've ever seen RADX with a significant goal lead, apart from like the first 5 minutes of game 2. Really good identification of their win conditions, really solid laning, good map play. Stellar team play, a really good synergy, especially mid jungle on these team fights, 2v2s, 3v3s. So I think very well deserved series win. Credits all there to RADX. They did actually give us some decent fights. I thought they were just down and out in game 3, but they still found the resources to pick it back up, keep playing, keep trying, and all kudos to them. They played their hearts out.
It was a noble effort, absolutely. They did start to lose some steam. They felt like they were getting slowly just crushed down on, but they were able to swing back. They were able to get some moments, right? Pick after pick after pick. They're finding Yesé a couple times, catching out the Ziggs. But at the end of the day, it was still inevitable. They were still going to be eventually run out of town 3-0, and it was Hearts the better team in this one.
I have to agree, definitely the better team on the day. Not to say that RADX played poorly or underperformed. I think they played to their level. I think it was expected to see a Vitagen win here. RADX definitely had the means to grab a game, maybe even two on a draft diff or something of the like. But definitely a strong side here for Vitagen. A strong win, and they're looking good to complete their lower bracket run.
Yep, looking to get one step closer to that full redemption arc, but that will do it for us today. That is the end of this stream. Thank you very much for joining us. Vitagen Hearts punching their ticket into the next round. RADX, we must unfortunately say goodbye. And before we do, Colibri, I want to get your MVP on either side. Pick one on either side, a Vitagen or a RADX, before we send this one out.
It's hard to say. I think the most that we've seen is from both junglers. I think both junglers we have seen the most team play gravitate around. I think they've both been like stellar in leading the team forward in their play. It obviously does cater to the role. That is sort of what the role can do. But it's mostly been played through these jungles, through these jungle positions, and both of them have been leading their teams to decent outcomes in plays, and have been carrying the game. I think of the Wukong game from game 2 from Jonathan Isaac. His Viego was really good as well, so I think I'd have to go with Jonathan Isaac and the Cav. Both have my MVP votes.
I could see either one of those completely defensible. I also want to give a shout out to A's. You know, as a tank player myself, I love it when I see the big guy up in the top lane showing up against the Bruiser, and he was able to absolutely wreck house on the Shen. He was continuing to hold the line with, the Chos and the Mundos and the big heavy boys, pretty much keeping top lane contained in what could otherwise be pretty rough matchup. So I want to tip the hat a little bit there, but unfortunately, that is a 3-0. Celebrations for the Vitagen boys, commiserations for RADX. We will see you guys in the next one. I have been Sandbag. This has been Colibri. Pepper making it happen behind the scenes as always, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care and have a great rest of your night. See you, folks.
Bye-bye.